We got to make sure we didn't overdo it.
No, time's out in 10.
Welcome to Bigfoot
And the Bunny,
This is a couple's journey into the mysterious,
the unknown, and the paranormal.
I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm your host, Kristen Johnson.
Together we are Bigfoot and the Bunny. Who is that?
Who
Is that moose and squirrel? It's
No,
Bigfoot and
No,
Bunny.
Bigfoot Bunny.
Bigfoot Bunny. Yeah, I bet you didn't think we were going to start with a Rocky and Bullwinkle joke. Yep.
Yep.
For you old school people, I'm sure you remember.
Moose and Squirrel. It's,
Moose and squirrel.
It's Boris Badenov and Natasha Fatali.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How are you guys? We have a really great show planned for you.
Really good
today.
show. Really
A
good
very good show. Very good. All right, what do we want to talk about? Before we get our guests on, we wanted to talk a little bit about the no bird movement, because that has been a reoccurring topic on Bigfoot and the Bunny and Dark Horse Paranormal. Birds aren't real. That's what some people say. Well, we were talking about this and we thought these people were just kind of out of their mind.
Yeah.
But this week on Vice, if you guys watch Vice from HBO, and you can find on YouTube, Peter McIndoe.
Yes.
Or McIndoe. Yeah. He came out, and he's the leader of the No Bird movement, and he actually said that it's sort of a farce.
He started it that way.
He started it, and it's really kind of an interesting story. He went to some rally. He didn't specify which rally it was. I'm not even sure if that's his real name, but he it was for some cause, and just randomly had a big sign that said birds aren't real. And it caught on, and he traveled the country giving lectures. There were conventions for these things. We talked to Terje Simonsen, author that we in Norway that we interviewed, and asked him if birds were real at the time. This is going back some time. And he said, I can assure you that birds are definitely real. So thank you. And
he said his father was a biologist.
My father's a biologist.
Yeah. They aren't real. Okay. Good.
I like the bird sound. Now I'm going to have to retire because they came out with the truth, and that's kind of a bummer.
Actually, no, we have a bird story. So
What's our bird story?
Our bird story is when we went out in the field and we actually got in the background a bird. It's environmental.
Sorry. I wasn't sure where you were going with that. Yes, we had a bird. It could have sworn. It's like, God damn it.
That's it. The poor thing. I don't know if it was having a bad day or what, but yeah.
Yeah, and environmental noise can contribute to data that you're collecting, in the paranormal. If you get a recorder going, I mean, it seems to be, like apophenia. I have an audio pareidolia thing going on, but sometimes you got to wonder, we tend to think and believe, it made me rethink some of the stuff that we've captured, that there might be something to it, a manipulation by spirit of the existing environmental noise around you into communications. And our guests know a lot about this.
They do.
We're going to talk to the technomancers, KD and Katy Stafford, who make up Supernatural Ink. Supernatural Ink is a paranormal research and development investigative team. They're parahistorians who have unique research skills. They are the creators of the Nanocom 2, which we're going to talk about because we ordered one and apparently have the first one. Everybody's like, the ink boxes and more. Featured on the Travel Channel, co-founder Katy Stafford was in many of the episodes of Portals of Hell with Jack Osborne, and he is the technical consultant for Ghosts of Morgan City. So we got him standing by here in the wings. Let's bring them on and say hello. KD and Katy Stafford.
Hello. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Welcome.
Can you hear us okay?
Yep.
I can. I'm turning you up just a little bit. I can do that on my side. And how are you? Happy Saturday.
We're good.
Hope you
sorry
don't mind me stealing your
camera.
background there.
The camera's like, this is the first time we streamed in here, so it's like we have to do some adjusting. This is Katie's office, so. But she did
All
good.
right,
She
yeah.
got the mic working and everything. Like, I would have had this all jacked up.
Nice. Yes, you just want to be a little close to that mic, and we got you just fine.
Yeah.
And you can see there in the stream that background I actually took from your Facebook, Katie. There's a bunch of boxes on there, spirit boxes you guys have been working on and producing, and we're psyched to talk to you. We love ITC.
Yes.
Instrumental transcommunication.
Yeah, well, me too. Yeah, we do too. That's
Clearly.
that's what we specialize in. You know, I find that the best or the most quality and like quantity also of evidence that I get is audio, ITC. So, and you know, EVP recording, all that's technically all ITC. All, you know, started in ITC. So.
It certainly did. And there's all sorts of ITC out there. We're big fans of spirit or ghost boxes, whatever you want to call them. I find that they're real helpful. I mean, some people don't like them. They feel like it's just random words and noise created by DJs or commercials on the radio. And when you get really direct, clear response, multi-syllables, I mean, it's hard to kind of debunk some of this stuff.
Or the same voice, because it's flipping. We'll get into that in a little later, but it's flipping so fast, but you get the same voice.
Sure, the speeds that they are now.
It's a broken radio. What can we say?
Well, there's
Exactly.
yeah, and there's lots of different ways that, you know, a ghost box can work. You know, we don't know how it works. We don't know that it works. We don't know what we're talking to. Like, really, if we're talking to you kind of have to put some you have to have a little bit of belief in it, I guess, is what is how I would put that. You have to have a little bit of faith in that you're going to communicate with something, you know. It takes a level of input. Also, it's not just turning on a device, and like it's not an EMF detector. It's not just going to, you know, it's a cold device. It's something. I think there's a level of human interaction that has to be there, you know. So
it's not a magic box, and I think what you're getting to is like you want to put some intention into using the box.
Right.
You know, intentions is something that just seems to go all through paranormal, parapsychology, spiritual things that you might do. Intention just seems to be so important as a human being to get results.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you, you know, I haven't really met too many people who went into paranormal research as a non-believer or a complete skeptic and didn't eventually find some sort of something that made them at least a skeptical believer, you know. So you have to, and then and they have always found all those people that I just described, the skeptics that change to believers, they all say the same thing, you know. It does take that step of belief or some kind of belief that you're, you know, intent, I guess, is how you put it. Like I said.
Well, the theory is
there's a lot of ways to put it. It's just hard to.
Well, one of the theories is that we believe that spirits or unforeseen entities or what have you, unseen entities, well, what have you, can communicate through various different types of frequencies, and even our own frequencies can attract things as well, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Oh, absolutely.
Most definitely.
We totally agree with you.
Vibrations, yes.
Exactly.
One thing I think is interesting is to record in other frequencies and then transpose them down. Like some people do that with bats, and I forget the word, but there's like a kind of recorder out there that they use for recording bats. Yeah. And you can transpose that down. I did want to give a little shout out to some people. There are a lot of people out there in chat that want to say hello. Matt Waddell, right there. Hi, everyone. And
hi, Matt.
We came across you.
That's how we came across you.
We,
Thank you again, Matt.
Borrowed Matt's nanocom at an investigation at Wilson Castle in Vermont. Had amazing results with it. We're just blown away with the device, and we'll talk more later, like how it works and that kind of thing. And I just went down a rabbit hole with this, and then next thing you know, I'm on, you know, Ghosts of Morgan City, and like, I got to talk to this guy.
Yeah, I've done a lot since
Well,
then too. That was like
you
that was
have. Yeah, most
that was
certainly.
kind of like early in my what I just was kind of dipping my foot into like building stuff and all that. You know, I've just got into it within a few years. So yeah, I mean, it's been what 2 years now, and it's crazy how much we've done in 2 years. So I mean,
That is awesome. And
I
we're
bought
gonna
boxes and
definitely
and everything.
deep
So.
dive some of this.
Oh yes.
I just want to give some hellos, throw them out there. Brandon Cooper, hello. Greg
What's
Cobb,
up, Brandon? He's our East Coast.
Liz Milne.
shaman.
Yes, he says this, I believe.
Yeah, he's our East
Liz Milne
Coast
from
shaman.
Scotland. Hello.
Yeah.
Debbie Wallace Hagen. Hello.
Hi Debbie. Hi Liz.
Beth Reed, Kansas City, Missouri.
Hello.
Chris Brown. Hey, Chris.
Hi
There's
Chris.
Beth,
There's Matt,
Joshua.
Chris, Natalie. Hey, guys. Chad,
It's so good.
Jerry. I've gotten vulgar language that isn't allowed
Yeah.
on the radio waves. Yes, that's one of those things that
Yes,
people
it
don't,
is. Yeah.
discuss on FM radio, right? When you're getting F-bombs left and right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get the B word, the A word.
Well, you know,
Oh, yeah.
We've gotten a lot of
and
those.
you know, you do get a lot of things that are inappropriate. So it's like, you know, we try to do live feeds sometimes, but like we've got a lot of stuff in Ghost Box sessions that were just inappropriate to like you couldn't
Even
say
put-
it on the radio or on TV or anything, you know.
Yeah, we'll
What's-
cut our live feed like real quick.
Yeah,
live.
well, you know, I stopped doing so many live feeds because of that, because it's the unknown nature of what you're gonna get, and you don't know if you're investigating a brothel,
Right.
and you know you're using a ghost box or recording for EVPs or something, and you know you get something very explicit.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's
There's
live.
some angry spirits out there, right? I mean, they're angry,
It's
some
true.
of them. You know, and I'm not saying every ghost is bad or negative, because that's certainly not the case. I don't feel. And, you know, at the end of the day, like you mentioned earlier, it's all data, right? It's all data, but the data shows that there are definitely some pissed off spirits. And, you know, by the way, you can swear on the show. It's not a family show, but, you know.
Well, swearing's one thing, right? Like, I'm not talking about just swearing. I'm talking about like very, like, you know,
Vulgar,
like not just like racist things. Like you get all
Yeah.
Oh
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it just
Yeah.
depends on what you're talking to and the history of the place, or you know, it could be demonic things aren't very nice. So
Well,
Hell no.
you never know what you're dealing with. So
you don't know. It's demonic. Oh, the D word's used a little over.
it is, but you never know, right? I mean,
Right,
But
yeah.
there are a lot of
right.
pissed off negative spirits out there.
Well,
So
for
right.
sure.
Well, you could look at it like right. Well, I'm saying like something that's probably a worst case scenario, but let's say it is demonic. Then
Mhm.
like just think of something as tame as what the Exorcist, and then it's
sure,
like
we've
worse
actually
than
had
that,
one
right? So
once.
Yeah. So I think actually our most common EVPs have been "Get Out" and "Help Me," which
yes,
seem to kind of be
Yeah.
with each other. It's like "Help me,"
Help
no,
me
get
get
out.
out.
right.
Yeah.
It's like which ones, but a lot of times I get help, right? But it's like out of context. I don't know if you're asking me for help. Are you offering me help? I think.
Yeah. I get
Yeah.
confused too. I'm like, do you want to help me? Is that what you're saying? Or do you need help?
Yeah, it is.
Right,
It's
it is
perplexing,
very-
right?
We asked the same question as well.
And I don't know why it's as common
you
as it
gotta
is.
find
Like, you know,
context.
something.
Yeah, you got to find context for it. It's the
Mhm.
only best way. That's kind of why I use ghost boxes because, like you were saying earlier, you use EMF detectors and you get fluctuation. You can see all that and try and translate it and everything. But like, what does that mean? It's just numbers going up and down, and but what does it mean? What is it? What does it represent? Right.
Right.
So that's why I like using ITC is because you get more of a message or more of a
Like a voice.
yeah.
Like,
Well, you can get more detailed information instead of just like if you're using a REM pod or some sort of binary type device where it's like yes and no's and stuff like that.
that helps too. I mean,
Well, it does
people
help, but
inside.
see, you have to know the right questions to ask.
Right. That's right.
And if you
Right.
don't know the right questions to
Yeah.
ask, you don't know the history of the location or something, then it's hard to really dig into it. But unless you have a good medium or somebody with you. And so yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the medium is a big asset, and having any sort of psychic ability can help lead you in the right direction. I mean, we fully believe that. All this stuff kind of harkens back. I think I'm not sure what your take is on it, but to me, it seems like it started with Tesla and his crystal radio.
Yeah, that's the earliest mention of the ITC phenomenon that I can find, is where I can't remember what article it was, but it was some publication, some science journal that Tesla was in, where there was an interview, and he was answering questions, and he was talking about when he first turned the radio on, what he heard, and he heard human voices, and it sounded like they were talking in conversation, right, to each other, but he couldn't make out the dialect, right? So he was a smart dude. He knew 8 languages or something. I mean, and he couldn't make the dialect out. And then some people say it was the moon just passing over in the radio reflection.
I remember,
and
but he was hearing human voices.
I get that, right? But you can listen to that now. You can go on YouTube and listen to that.
That's true. Yeah.
And tell me if that sounds like human voices.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting stuff on YouTube as far as that goes, that they get from NASA and gets reposted. Different moons of different other planets, even. You hear these weird frequencies going on.
There are strange frequencies. I'm not going to say it's not an interesting, cosmic phenomenon that happens, right? And it definitely is. But there's a distinction between human voices and the moon passing by, right?
Right.
That if you can listen to an example of the moon passing by and
decide
for yourself, it's distinctly different. So Tesla definitely was hearing something, and it was enough to confuse him. So
yeah, right. You've got to figure he's a pretty smart guy. I think he started by thinking it was the dead, people, and then he started thinking it was aliens or something. I don't know. But
he didn't go into too much detail on it. But he did just kind of briefly mention it, and that's all I've been able to find on it, really.
I believe he has a personal journal, and FBI has it.
Well, yeah, they did.
We believe that as well. There's a bunch of stuff that they have from him.
They seem to confiscate a bunch of stuff.
Right, and then
a whole other show on top of that, right there.
Well, also he had given he had given the hotel owner where he was staying when he died. He gave him a case, and he told him in the case was a device that would make him rich beyond his wildest dreams, but he couldn't open the case until Tesla had died, and he gave him that in place of rent money. This is so the story goes, and after Tesla died, the guy opened it up supposedly, and it was just a bunch of junk from Tesla's lab.
Wow, yeah, I heard a little about that. It's fascinating.
Or was it?
Right. Nobody knows.
We'll never know.
It's gone.
Let's see it. You didn't keep it. I would have kept it, right? Like if the world's most famous scientist at the time, one of them, died, and I had his suitcase with junk from his lab, it's still priceless.
Yeah, and who knows what he had planned in there, right? What sort of things he had come up with that didn't get released to the public. And you go from that to more modern times, and people like Konstantin Raudev and the work he did. I'm not sure if you're a fan of his.
Oh yeah, I bet. That's originally where my interest came from, is with the Raudev mic and crystal radio.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my initial interest came from in ghost boxes and that side of ITC. So that was my first actual attempt to build a ghost box. I used the AM radio. So,
nice.
It was because of Raudev, and the Raudev mic, the Raudev diode is used in a crystal radio. So that's
thank you for pronouncing that.
It's a rabbit hole.
I always say it wrong. I did it too. I had another ITC conversation, and I butchered his name.
Oh, I'm probably saying it like somebody from South Carolina would say it. So don't go off of what I'm saying.
Yep.
It's funny though.
Yeah, his work is pretty fascinating though. Did he use like a microphone that that worked off of vibrations in a different way, right?
Well, it's basically a untuned AM radio, right? So you're just crystal radio uses a crystal diode in it, right? And it's a germanium diode, and then you use a coil to pick up the radio waves, and you make it a certain size and a certain length to pick up whatever part of the bandwidth, right? Ain't nothing wrong with it, Brandon. I'm just saying.
Brandon keeps saying what's wrong with the sound.
It probably sounded. It's probably not the correct pronunciation.
I think you were closer than me, my friend. So thank you.
Absolutely. We butcher the name every time.
But what were some of your other influences in ITC? And that's interesting that Constantine was an initial influence.
Oh yeah, and Frank Sumption, obviously.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
That's I kind of modeled the ink box is based on his circuit that he used in his radios, right? And
is that right?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, even Frank Sumption came down to the final conclusion that the best method of using a radio for communication is to ask a question and then manually tune the knob back and forth. So it's like, really, Frank? So we did all this work.
So what was that?
Turn the knob back and forth.
Did he feel like the spirit might influence the way you turned it?
I think with him, he might have had results with that, a lot of good results because of his ability, because he had some sort of psychic ability as well, and that coupled with his his just using the radio. I think there may be like a new variety of psychic ability that we have to add to the classification list in the 20th century now, is like electronic psychic ability, right? Like the ability to communicate through electronics. So you're more likely to, if you're touching it and interacting with an electronic device, you're more likely to get results. And
I like that.
Yeah.
things are more likely to hear you, and you are more likely to hear other things. And I don't know how it works. I'm not going to sit here and try and describe how it works. I'm just going to say that that's what it looks like to me, because some people appear to be more likely to get precision responses than others are, and that it's just like, it could be just like any other psychic ability. It could be something that you could work on and make it better, make it stronger, make it
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Some people are just born naturally,
And
Maybe
also,
gifted in that result, meaning that it's not just the electronics, and that goes back to the intention that we mentioned at the front of the show, because you can be like a sort of antenna. We feel like as a couple, we gather a lot more data than we do individually, and we don't really know why that is, but it's we proved it over and over.
Well, you have two sets of senses also. So not only do your
but they also their energy
right.
together.
I knew you were going to say that. So yeah, I was gonna say that's one. I knew you were going to already knew you were going to say, your energy that you produce together is chemical.
I'm real big
on
that.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah, I'm real big on. Oh, sorry.
That should have been number one. Sorry, but okay. So, but also so if you have two sets of senses on it, like whatever you don't pick up, she might hear, and whatever
Well, we share our energy as well. I mean, because we live together. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when two people's our individual energy together, it makes a different. To me, in theory, it makes a different type of frequency, like different type of wave.
Changes the wave.
Especially, and it also depends on your intent. So I always
feel like this camera's right in my face, but it's not.
Yeah, I fully agree with you.
Yes.
We've talked about this on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
One of our guests had brought it up. It's like whoever you're with, you're laying in each other's energy every night. You're just sitting there, and it's melding, and it's creating this thing, and it might be a thing that it takes on a life of its own in a way.
Soaking in it.
Yeah, you're just soaking in it. So
soaking it up.
I don't know if that makes us a bigger beacon to the afterlife.
That's what I call it. We're
or,
like beacons.
If just something
They
to the
know.
chemistry of it. We don't really know. We ponder those things, but we've noticed that too with other couples as well.
Well, and that's the case a lot of times. Or, there might be something that, a lot of times there's something that may be familiar to a spirit or whatever you're talking to about one of the other of you, where something might not like men.
Yeah.
It usually likes women.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. So
we had that experience kind of like last night, and we did a case last night.
Yeah, right. Like the guy in the house, it didn't like him, and he felt like it was negative towards him, and she didn't feel like it was negative towards her, and it just we kept getting get out through the ghost box, and it said his name, David, and it like immediately.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty cool. But
yeah, Greg Cost says it's psychic instead of intuitive psychic, using the same intention with the energy.
Yeah, and
just working with a device sounds like a form of physical mediumship. Yeah, I would have to agree.
Yeah,
it is kind of like a form of physical mediumship, but also at the same time, yeah. So like what you were saying earlier, you use yourselves, where you were saying your energy is like an antenna or whatever.
Right.
It's funny you say that because where's that box at? Let's sit it down. Like so with the nano.
This is your box.
That's
there it is.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Look at that. See that horse? That is Dark Horse Paranormal, folks.
PHP.
We're psyched. Thank you so much. That thing looks
Thank you.
balls.
This is like an experimental one too. You'll like this one.
Oh, I am thrilled. What look at that knob on the side. What is that to?
So this is a speed variation knob, right? It's something I've just been playing with. So, like normally, the selling point for nanocoms is normally like they're you don't have to have any kind of knowledge of ghost boxes or knobs flipping or turning or switching. You just turn the power on and turn the volume up and go, right? And it does it for you. It controls the sweep speed and everything, right?
And it controls it off the basis off the EMF that's in the environment in which you're using the device.
Right. So if you get an EMF spike, it changes the sweep speed and right.
Yes, we experienced that.
So basically, it uses a random speed. It chooses a random speed between 10 milliseconds and like 300 milliseconds, right? So so that's how the base nanocom works, right? So I've been messing with like a switch to get out of that, to switch out of that, in case you're not getting a lot of EMF fluctuations, it's sitting like slow. And so this one actually, I don't know how well you're gonna be able to,
he says it's like a 5-speed.
I don't know how well you're gonna be able to hear it, but we'll see.
Yeah, because it sounds different, like over. So this is the antenna.
It's actually got two.
You need a battery?
No, it's fine. Two new functions on it. Three.
It has three functions. It's three functions in one box.
Right.
Awesome.
So that's your standard like nanocom.
Are you a witch?
Are you a witch? Oh.
Is that what I heard? Did you guys hear that? Are you a witch?
All right, now hold on. Yeah, okay. So I was going to explain that.
I just had to touch it.
You guys remind me of us so much.
Well, this is your actual like antenna right here. So
okay,
if you're not touching it, it's going to get way less radio reception. But so like I use that, it's kind of a mute. So I'll just ask a question and I'll touch it, and then you get a lot more like reception because your body becomes part of the antenna. Right.
Brandon said he heard Rachel, "Are you a witch?" I definitely heard that "Are you a witch?" part when you first turned that on. I thought that was
in the box. I was like, Rachel,
Yes.
Oh, good catch, Brandon.
Yeah, we heard "Are you a witch?"
That's
so okay. So the cool thing is that's the random function, right?
Okay.
So now with the speed, you can turn the speed all the way to the slowest, and what it's doing is it's sweeping, picking a random speed between the slowest and the fastest, somewhere in that.
Okay, so you can manually set that kind of speed with that now.
and it'll still do it randomly, but it keeps it in that big range when it's turned all the way down. Now, when you turn it up,
The sweet speed.
Oh, that is so cool.
it starts decreasing the range to the quicker side, right?
Can you hear it okay?
Yeah, we can hear it. Yeah. I am so psyched. I cannot tell you how pumped we are about this right now. We're
Yes.
stoked. Stoked.
Oh, well, he's not done. You've got more added features to this box.
So
Oh my God.
you can hear kind of how it's the audio or it's sweeping randomly right now. How it's
Mhm.
Yeah, it started sweeping a lot faster.
Yes.
Now, listen. Now that's like a steady speed. So
Okay.
put the switch on the front, and it changes to a steady speed.
Okay, so it's no longer random.
And listen.
Listen. You picked it.
So
Ah,
you hear how steady it
okay.
is.
Now you're in a real true manual adjustment. Oh yeah, it's scrolling now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now it's got one more thing. No. All right. It's got a noise killer on it.
Oh wow, great.
Come on.
Oh, that's working well too. I like that.
I can't help myself.
Oh, oh my gosh. Yeah, huge difference there.
Oh,
I think I turned it
Stop.
up. I like fiddling with the boxes.
Oh, we were just
Stop.
like,
Let it
hey,
go.
what
Say,
He
you
has-
can hear it.
Yeah, but he's made me
Yep.
2 boxes in the past week, and yeah, I love all my boxes.
And here's with the mute or the soft mute off.
yeah. Wow, huge difference. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that is hard to hear it late at night. So, you're doing it overnight and the static is just starting to wear on you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice flick. Nice button control to have. Oh, that is so cool.
But
We're
you
so
can
thankful.
also flip that one.
I love it. Hey, for those of you who don't know, just notice this Bigfoot and the Bunny. We're also Dark Horse Paranormal. You can see the little icon there in the corner.
Mhm.
And, it's a little play on words being Dark Horse. And, the horse is actually white. And, of course,
Okay.
the Dark Horse means underdog.
I see
So-
it now. I couldn't see it because it was like blended
Oh,
into
yeah, I see it
the.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got that right there in the box.
X-ray type. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
thank
It's
you.
reversed.
Oh my God, so much. That is so
That is
cool.
so cool.
I cannot wait.
Oh, you cannot wait to get our hands on that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we're
we're
actually
trying
planning a show to use with it pretty soon and on air.
Yeah.
And it may that may happen this week early when we get the box. So we're pumped. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
Thank you again.
Anyway,
Awesome.
and it's such a cool box. And
It is.
we're gonna of course come back to this, but where should people go to get such a device?
Oh, just messages on
Yeah.
Facebook right now.
All right.
Or you could just go to supernaturalinparanormal.com
There you go. She knows.
and you can just
I don't know.
send us a message, or you can request information. There's like several ways to get a hold of us on the website. I would send like a jot form.
Carrier pigeon.
I would send like
Pigeon.
Tesla.
Let me throw that up in the ticker. I apologize. I actually meant to put that up there beforehand.
Carrier
Uh,
pigeon.
It's my son's birthday. I also want to say happy
Smoke
birthday to my
signals,
son
that's
Logan.
also Acceptable.
He's 15 today, my boy.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's looking at me right now. He's
Logan.
15.
Happy birthday.
15
happy
years old.
birthday.
Thank you.
What's his name?
Logan.
Oh,
That's our son's name.
yeah.
But he's 8.
Yep. Excuse me.
Oh,
Getting
so-
over a cold.
Good age right
That's
there.
awesome.
I like that.
Yeah, we have an 18-year-old and an 8-year-old, and his name is Logan. So happy birthday, Logan.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
He is out there. He's with his 23-year-old sister.
Yeah, well,
There
Lexi,
is that.
Well, Logan wanted to watch the show. So,
Logan's sister's 18, so she's 10 years older than him. So.
yeah. We had the kids spread apart. We've been married for going on 20 years.
Something like that.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah. We've
It's been a
been,
few minutes.
it's gone by pretty fast.
That's excellent. That's
Yeah.
excellent. You guys seem like a great couple. So you guys got into the paranormal. Was the paranormal what drew you together, or how did you meet?
Well, we met at a gas station in a town called Possum Kingdom.
Well, we're serious. But
Really? Like the Toady song?
Like the yeah, I was just thinking. I'm like, I know that song, but I don't know if I should say it.
Yes, like the Toad. Yes, exactly. Yes, I know. We used to jam out on that song. I'm not even kidding. There's a town called Possum Kingdom,
yeah,
and that's where she lived.
that's
Wow. I didn't know it was
Well,
real.
I lived on the outside of Possum.
Yeah, he lived like what was it, 2 miles and the whole time, and I'd never had met him, and he lived 2 miles.
Because it's the woods, man.
What
Yeah.
we were riding like I rode a
It's the
horse to
woods in
school.
South Carolina. Everybody
Yeah,
lives in the woods.
I
You
mean-
live in the woods.
Is that in the sticks?
Yes. Oh
yeah,
yes.
boondocks. Yeah,
Yeah,
most
man.
certainly. Yeah, no, we both were like at the time when we first met, I was studying dreams.
Yeah, I mean, we were into the paranormal,
Yeah.
but we met just randomly at a gas station. Like,
Well, it wasn't like a one night thing either. It was a gradual.
yeah, we just talked.
Get together.
Yeah, we just talked.
Yeah, we weren't saying what happened in the gas station.
Yeah,
No,
no.
yeah. They weren't making any insinuations.
Well, I just.
It wasn't dirty.
I'm
or
not
anything.
getting.
Oh my
I was
God,
just
love
getting
you guys.
gas, and the next thing no.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. I can't believe it.
We're in the freezer. No, I'm kidding.
Whoa.
That's awesome. That's great. That's great. No, that's really cool. So it was more a matter of fate, you know.
Yep.
Fate and a little synchronicity,
Was
serendipity.
fate. It was fate.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. When here you guys are, and I love these products. I love your story. I see you guys do a lot of events. You do a lot of investigations. Did you want to talk a little bit more about ITC? I was wondering what you thought about, like maybe more modern people like Annabella Cardoso, if you're familiar with her. She does a lot of like shortwave radio work, and I know you offer some shortwave radio. Spirit box.
I've heard of some of her work. I haven't been able to like research.
She's fascinating, and I don't think she's real into the paranormal. Like she tends to view them as operators and this kind of thing, and
Yeah,
she's like
that's an
hanging out in
ITC
cemeteries.
dogma type deal. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
That's like your old metaphysics foundation. You know, like that's how they viewed it.
Right, yeah, they viewed it like then they like seem to be trying to talk to her as much as she's talking to them. Like they're both working together to create these communications. But her work is pretty fascinating. It's mostly in Portuguese, I believe, because she's
Yeah.
Portuguese. She was a diplomat for Portugal and lives in Spain. But totally fascinating work. Like, very long sentences.
What did that was like she just uses a regular radio though, right? She just
Right.
right.
She's actually not sweeping.
Yeah. That's similar to Bocce, right? Like was it Luigi Bocce? I want to say that's his name. His first. I know his last name is Bocce, right?
Yes, I know.
So I want to say it's Luigi Bocce. It's Italian. So like it actually he was doing his work in Italy, right? And you can look it up on the ITC Voices. I think it's ITC or ITC Voices. You can
I
go
have
on-
heard of the name, but I'm not real familiar with its work.
Yeah, look up Bocce. I want to say it's Luigi Bocce.
It kind of goes back to me in my mind to that intention that we were talking about, because I think you would have to spend a lot of time, and I know that she has it. She says she
did.
has, with those boxes, like just really put focus in your intent where there's nothing added to it, where it's just shortwave radio. To get anything and to have any kind of consistent communications, I think would take a long time. But I think there's something to that. Like if you spend a lot of time with these devices, any kind of device, because anything works, right? The dowsing rods,
I think
they will work better for you.
right. So it's like I was saying, if this electronic psychic ability, right? If it's a thing, if it is, and it's like the other psychic abilities that we investigated, then there's going to be different. It's going to work differently for different people, right? So whatever these people find that works best for them, that they're able to to get the best results with, that's what they're going to gravitate towards, right? So that's the first thing she probably landed on, and probably wasn't even intentionally doing it.
Right.
It's just, she just happened upon it, and so she's not really interested probably in, like branching out and doing other things, because that's her thing. That's what she does, right? So,
Exactly. I think, she's probably kind of obsessed on it because it's worked for her. And there is something to that obsession. And, we've experienced that ourselves, like with our certain investigations and things where it took up so much thought space. We felt that it helped the devices that we used. And we seemed to collect a lot more data because we were literally thinking about it. In fact, we got to a point where we had to walk away from it for a while because we were just haunting our houses and it was getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
like, okay, we're good with this. This is not fun anymore.
Yeah, when things when things hear through the grapevine, hey, this guy's got a box. You can talk. He'll talk to you through the box, from the other side. If they come running, I suppose. It does happen though. Just imagine here at my house. Like I'm building this crap all the time, so I constantly have ghost boxes running.
Yeah, I know. I got a little weirded out the other day with the coffin edition box that we have, and there was breathing coming through it, and there was a sigh, like when somebody's like that type of thing, but then it's just like a heavy breathing. It was just odd, and also. What I like about the nanocom is, the fact that it works off of, EMF. I get weird beeping sounds. And sometimes I'm sitting here thinking, is that like some kind of transmission of something? Beeping. Like, and is it coming? Where's it coming from? Is this like aliens or something? Like, what the heck is this? Like, is it another dimension of some sort that's trying to communicate? That, it's just. It's odd, and I normally
I can tell you what it is.
What?
It's a sound frequency that's coming. It's either coming through one of the part of the band in the radio, like from some sort of electronics, or it's like some sort of actual radio signal from God knows what else they've got out there. Freaking, they use radio for everything, man. Wi-Fi is radio, Bluetooth is radio. So every Wi-Fi, Bluetooth signal is coming through is kind of like intermingling with, so like you're getting all these crazy. If you were to just turn a dial through the radio stations, though, you would hear that it's like it would come in gradually, it'd go up, and it would just go out, right? But you're popping through, you're just jumping from station to station, so it sounds like a beep because it's like beep, and then it jumps in and out. But if you were to slowly roll in and out, you'd hear it, and that's all you hear. It'd sound like a whining, like a whistling.
Right. These frequencies are around us all the time. We just don't perceive them, right, with our human senses. And I had a story for the nanocom. So one of the reasons why we liked it, we had borrowed Matt Waddell's nanocom, as I mentioned earlier, at an investigation. And one of the things it did, among other things, was that it did create these breathing noises. And they were really weird. And we got a recording of it, but it was even more pronounced when we were there. And it's going through bands and you're just hearing this heavy breathing noises, like it was just happening, like somebody was breathing like through a microphone through the box. It was the weirdest effing thing. And the other thing it did was it knocked and knocking.
Yeah,
it was knocking in the
box. Never heard that before.
And it wasn't the thing where it was changing the channels. It was like somebody was like literally knocking like on the head of a microphone, like this thing, just knocking on it. Yes. It was bizarre.
It was so bizarre. And also they were sighing. There was also the sigh.
Oh yeah, you hear crying and little kids.
Different than other boxes that I've used, and I was very impressed. Yeah. It did change speed, so we're definitely EMF occurrences going on, and it was doing that as well, which was intriguing.
And what box was you using?
It's a nanocom.
Oh, you were using our nanocom.
Yes, it was. Even Matt said the knocking was wild.
Right,
it was his box.
Yeah,
they were using.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm working on his.
Down a rabbit hole.
Matt, I'm working on his Lego box now.
Yeah, his Lego box is very nice. Yeah, it's
awesome. Now I'm sure he's psyched to get it.
Yeah,
I know he's really into these, like I am. It's a thing we we were talking about. Like, wow, this is so cool. He's like, yeah, it is.
Well, the Ligma box has a lot of functions on it, and you really need to sit down.
Well, they're all different too.
Yes, they are all different, but they have a lot of functions on them. And when you get used to operating it and setting it up for, whatever location you're at, I mean, it's on after that. After you get that sucker set up,
Totally fascinating.
It is.
Now, how do you feel about like some of the older, like those first digital recorders, like that Panasonic? I think it's the DR60,
oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
DR60 or RRDR60. They go for like thousands of dollars. Basically, a kind of a crappy recorder. And it's going back to ITC. I'm sorry, it's not a spirit box, but just a digital recorder that introduces white noise.
Yeah, but that is ITC. So EVP recording is the guys in the Metaphysical Foundation or whatever. They were all doing EVP recordings. Rowdy Bay was EVP recording with tape recorders and stuff, right? They've been doing that for a while, and that was always classified under ITC. And they did kind of create like a dogma around it. So like there's like a whole structure and everything of how they think it all works and all that stuff. And it's interesting to go look at all that stuff.
Well, what he's
I don't
not telling you
necessarily-
guys something. He has been working on. He's like, oh my God, what's she
I
gonna
don't know
say?
what you're working. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's been. If you go through our YouTube, some of our posts, I don't want to say we virtual signaling things, but we put whatever. But we put in like little things and stuff that we're working on. And he's been working on a different method of recording, for probably past 5 years.
What are you talking about?
You told me not to tell anybody.
You're just like us. You really are.
There
You're
is
just
no
like
Fight
us.
Club.
There
That's
is
right. That's the first rule of Fight
I
Club.
can't. You told me not to.
Pigeons are liars.
Oh,
Pigeons are liars. Yeah.
well, that's what. Okay, so
Sorry.
she thinks what she sees is something that's completely new.
I know it's not new, but
it's going back. Well, hold on. Well, I'll get to that. Okay, going back to the DR60 first.
no.
Let me finish talking about the DR60. Okay, so the DR60 is fine. That's great. I think it's good. I think it's cool because it was like or it's like we should have done this differently.
Yeah.
And they just stopped making those and went to the next model where it was completely different, right? And so you could buy like the next model after that one. And it doesn't produce those same artifacts, the same audio artifacts.
And why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's got something to do with the compression, like the compression, just the codec that it's using to compress and decompress when it plays it back out. There's not a whole lot it could be. Shielding, sure, okay, but you could test that. I mean, you could like run voltage.
Yeah. It just seems like it introduces some kind of noise. I think there's something to that too.
Well,
maybe it's the compression of the codecs that creates it.
And regardless of what it is, right? It doesn't matter what's causing it. The thing is it valid, right? And when it's valid, I mean, it's valid, dude. What are you gonna do? If you're investigating, let's say, for example, a haunted house, and there was a dude lived there. His name was Bob, and Bob was murdered in his recliner, right? So, and you're there, and you know about Bob being murdered in his recliner, and you're recording with the DR60, and you ask, "Hey, is Bob here? Were you murdered in your recliner?" And you get Bob recliner. When you play it back, right? That's stupid. That's ridiculously valid. Like, in my mind, there's no way for it to produce just a random sound. Fine. Okay, we'll say I did run my finger across it, or I moved, or I breathed, or something, right? How would it like translate so closely to something so valid. So whatever, or let's say it was interference, radio interference, or something like that, right? It doesn't matter.
It's a direct response.
It's a direct response, and it
Right.
was just using whatever it had to respond.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah, the chances of that being random are just ridiculous,
Yeah.
especially if other people hear it. If you can play it for somebody else and they say, well, yeah, there it is.
everybody hears the same thing, right?
Pretty clear.
And it's one thing. It'd be one thing if that just happened like once in a blue moon, but it just happens way too often for it to be overlooked. So I think DR60 is a good tool to have. Would I pay $1,500 for one? No. Because
Right.
Oh, gotcha.
eBay.
if I had it, sure, I
Crazy.
would, right? But I just don't have $1,500 lying around. There's way too many other things that I want.
Like a new fence.
Like us.
A new fence in my backyard, but or like way other more equipment, and it's not necessarily just a device, but it's like equipment that you need for entire experiments. Like it just gets way more complex for me, I guess. I don't know, but like DR60s are cool. Ghost boxes are cool, but they're also you can't just go on that. I mean, I would love to. But there's the human experience also.
Yeah, right. Well, often overlooked. I do think it's very possible to get too wound up in the tech and the things you're doing with cameras and recorders and boxes and everything else that you miss the real paranormal experience. Or you just overlook it. Like we've had things where we've heard voices like literally yell at us that did not come across the recorder.
Right.
And, we're both startled. It's like, on video, see us jump, the whole thing. We heard it, but it didn't go through the recorders. There's nothing. So that was a paranormal experience. If we were obsessing on and not taking in what was going on around us, we could have missed the whole thing. And it was the most paranormal thing to happen that day,
Right.
pretty much.
I generally, I try to avoid doing ghost box sessions from midnight to 4 a.m. if I'm anywhere where there's a radio station that picks up Coast to Coast AM.
Oh yeah, well there you go. Because
if you're sweeping through the radio and you're saying, "Is there anything here with us?" and then it sweeps through past Coast to Coast AM, and George Norrie says "ghost" at the right time.
Right, Bigfoot.
Then bam, or Bigfoot, or aliens. Definitely aliens. Then come right through, and it's like, okay, well,
We've actually had that said to us.
Is
several
Bigfoot an alien?
that's a good way to make your question, make your responses valid. So if some people might actually do that. Now I think about it, you could do that if you thought your best chances at hosting a ghost box session, is probably to do it that way.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of it. Just the ghost could certainly.
I never thought of it like that.
Real slow. Just let it cruise through whatever station Coast to Coast AM's on. Say Area 51. And just roll on.
Yeah, right. What have you stumbled on?
That's a massive rabbit hole right
Are we
there.
at Skinwalker Age? What's going on here?
Right.
That's awesome. Do you work with video ITC at all? Or do anything like the Klaus Striver stuff?
Yeah, I'm interested in all that stuff. So we make the video ghost boxes. You've seen those, like Frank Sumption made one. I think there's a couple other people who've made it too. It's like an old camping TV, but it's broadcast TV. It's a tube TV, and
it's analog.
So basically, it just sweeps up and down through the radio station or the TV station, the VHF and UHF.
Does it work with like a feedback loop type thing?
No, you're just like so you're looking at the white noise. So imagine poltergeist, right?
Right.
Yeah. They're here.
Right. So just imagine that just sweeping and like going crazy and undulating and it's doing all kind of crazy stuff, right? And so what you do, the way we use it is so we'll just ask questions and then just take pictures, right? Because you can record video and go frame by frame and look for stuff, sure.
Yeah, but you're twisting the camera around.
Well, the thing is video. If you're gonna do that, you should probably use like an old camera, right, with a crappy frame rate, crappy quality, just so you get that distortion, right? Because like if you have too high quality of a camera, it's just gonna be too precision.
Yeah.
It's gonna look too good. But anyway, so you just take pictures, right? And in a picture, you'll capture something that you wouldn't get in a video in a still shot, in a still frame from a video. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes
It
total
does.
sense. Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's probably got to do with exposure and all that stuff. But and picture quality also.
Remember that picture you got at Ashmore Estates?
Oh yeah. So, but yeah. And so I was using what
the video feedback loop you're doing with the camera.
Right. No, that was a video feed. No, that was the PGG thing that I used on this Morgan City. But I didn't have the laser in Morgan City on it. I had the laser on this one. But yeah, so at Ashmore Estates, we captured this disembodied face or head.
Don't get the Pythian mixed up with Ashmore.
No, this is Ashmore. Just floating right above our friend's shoulder. Right, it's crazy. And
Yeah.
So, but that was more to do with like the PGG is like fog, and you take pictures. It's just like 3-dimensional with the light and everything going through it. And I don't want to talk about it too much because there'll be something soon that'll like show you, like
right?
You see it.
Well, because he's going to be on a new show.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, is this something you can or can't talk about?
Well, I can't give details right now. So until
Okay.
That's fine.
until they're
All
done.
right. So video may play a role though in there. So that's cool. I'm glad I asked that question.
He's
Yes.
got the lead role.
Well, it's
in
not.
it.
It's a main cast. So a main cast.
Yeah, main cast.
Nice.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
So
Yes.
you'll see way more of me than you probably will ever want to see.
Yeah,
Let's see my mug everywhere.
Yeah, there's a couple of projects that he's will be coming. Yeah, so he was on season 1 and 2 of Fright Club, and then he was in the last 2 episodes of Ghost Brothers Lights Out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
Awesome.
and lots of I can't say too much more.
Well,
But
don't talk about
That's
it.
fine. We understand.
No, that's cool. I think that the tech is really interesting with the feedback loop and anything with TV, but it seems very tedious where you got to go frame by frame. So using like a lower frame rate camera may be real helpful, but when you see the results and you've got a clear face, especially as somebody that was, like is departed, and you can put the two of them together, and you go, is this the same person? You go, oh my God, that it's I haven't played with that tech at all, but I think it's fascinating.
Well, the thing about the low frame or the low quality images or pictures is you still get it produces a higher quality paranormal image because of the lower quality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like using that crappily put together early 90s digital.
but it just picks up the RGB.
The noisy recorder, yeah.
Yeah, we're right. It's just like, so it's the equivalent to using, so if you're going to use like the DR60, right? So the idea with the DR60 is to find something like when the technology was new and just really crappily put together, hastily put together, just to get it out in the market or whatever, and have that thing out there, and it's, and then just it's got glitches galore, right? So my idea was like, you probably find a camera that's very similar, and there are several cameras that produce some really interesting light anomalies.
Yeah, and I bet they are not the clearest ones. We haven't talked about that. I believe it because we've heard environmental sounds. I feel sometimes like, if this is real, and we tend to think it is, but of course we just say it's data, that the spirit can use this things like a painter's palette. If there's like an additional white noise or there's a bird chirping over there, it's going to take those frequencies and manipulate them in some way in your recording. Then now that, wait a minute, that just said something. Did you hear what that said? We were kind of goofing about the bird, right? There's we're recording a bird that sounds like it says, "God damn it!"
Water as well.
Sometimes we do get something. Go, wow.
Right, they can manipulate the recorder. Exactly.
They can manipulate your ears. Like we mentioned, hearing them talk to us, going to yell at us. We had an instance of that where actually she had headphones on, and it was using our DRO5 recorder, right? So this has a real-time input, and she's got the headphones in there, and she's walking with it we're in a haunted location, and she's only hearing what's through the headphones. Through the mics coming through into the headphones. And I didn't have that going on. And we're just walking. We both heard somebody go, hello, like really loud. And we're startled. We're filming the whole thing. Looking around. There's nobody around. And then when we got home and we played it back, it wasn't on here.
No. And
but this is all she could hear. So how do you explain that?
Recorder either.
They manipulated our eardrums, which is just like a microphone, right?
Or it was, you heard it in real. That's a good question. Or you didn't hear it in the microphones.
No, we heard it in the eardrum, I think, is what got manipulated.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying, so it would have had to like physically interact with your like inner ear bone.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Like operate through.
Yes.
Right. Because how do you explain there's nothing on here? This thing's
Or yeah,
And
right.
she heard it through the headphones.
Yeah, right.
We both heard it.
It wasn't like interference, like radio interference or anything.
No
like
radio.
No, it's a hello.
Recorded.
Yeah.
No, it was
No, this
a
was-
loud hello.
And
It was
it
startling.
echoed
Like it was loud.
throughout
That's
the land
weird,
that we were on.
Yeah.
So
It
So
freaked us
maybe
out.
it was working off her frequency then.
Both of ours. We
Both
were
of
walking
ours.
next to each other. She had headphones on and the recorder. I did not. We
Yes.
both heard it.
Yep.
So it went into our eardrums, but we had other recorders on location
it
too. None
never
of them
came
picked it
up.
up.
Well, that's like that's interesting because that goes to like that makes you start thinking. Okay, so can are they basically kind of using their renaissance the timing thing? What's it called? Oh shit, I can't remember what's called. But there's a like a physics law.
I don't know if it's
I can't remember it. Anyway, so basically,
residual.
it's the law of like timing.
Residual.
It's like timing. It's like resonance, right? So anything that's like the guy that figured it out. I remember when I learned about this in school. So he had what do you call the things? The top for damn it.
The what?
For music. The timing was what they
Oh,
call it.
The ticker
What is it? Metronome, yes. Okay. So the guy would set up
Metronome.
like a 4 different metronomes, right? And put them all on this. And he'd
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes,
And they will sync.
they will
and
sink
they
in.
would
Yeah.
sync because
Yes.
they were the table, but he had to figure out later on that the table was actually relaying the energy from the metronomes, and it was like syncing them vibrationally.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Right. The
In-
vibration.
Yeah, we're picking up the vibrations from the metronome.
Yes.
They would sync up together.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
So,
fascinating out there.
so that's a transfer of energy, right? So they all synced up to the median of that came between all of them. So maybe
Mhm.
that's
Yeah, you're right. Maybe if a third person had been with us, they might have heard the same thing. Yet it wouldn't have been on our recorders because the frequency was just what your ears could
right. And
work on, or something like that. The vibration.
Right.
It's fascinating. It's hard to debunk, but it was an experience, right?
Right.
So there's that, and I think also sometimes, and Steve Mara has a word name for that, where they choose like the individual microphones that you use in the
Yeah.
record to like put the noise and vibrations into the microphone, and like you could have 2 recorders next to each other, and one has the EVP and one doesn't. That kind of thing.
You're probably talking about an EVP mic or like the radio. Are you talking about the radio mic?
No, just in general, like you could have 2 of the same.
Oh, you're
recorders.
talking about using 2 different recorders.
Yeah, one
You're
Right,
talking
you
about
can have
plugging
it's a
up
different
an
example.
antenna.
It's a different example.
Of
but
what them manipulating our eardrums.
Steve was mentioning something about like how they could manipulate the microphones and the individual recorders. And I
Oh,
think it's similar to the eardrums, because like the recorder didn't have it, but she heard it. We both heard it. We were like, what the hell?
and that's
I was
that's
looking
not-
around to see who was there and the whole thing. It was crazy.
Right.
but-
if that's the case, then that would be technically like a telekinetic.
Yeah,
form of
it's similar.
communication because it's actually physically having to vibrate those that plastic the diaphragm on the mic.
The diaphragm, right.
Right.
And our eardrums have a diaphragm too. So they're kind of similar in nature. But I just think the whole thing is very fascinating. And I think a lot of times it works with having those options of the static, with any kind of the environmental noise, and then making something with it. Like I mentioned, a painter's palette earlier. It gives you like, well, all right, it could have been a commercial, whatever. But when it's very clear in all of our responses, you have to give that some kind of credence, right? Like you said with Bob in the recliner.
I call it the Bumblebee Effect.
If-
Like that's, you've seen Transformers 1, the movie. It was not a great movie. The rest of them are even worse. But the first one wasn't great.
I like all the sounds.
But the first one was decent. It was like, oh, cool, Transformers, but you couldn't tell what was going on when they were fighting. But anyway, the way Bumblebee talked was like his voice got messed up when he crashed on Earth, right?
Mhm.
His voice modulator is what they said. So he had to use the radio in his car body to, like, he would tune through the radio and pick the sounds he wanted to use to say whatever he wanted to say. So if you watch the movie Transformers, you hear Bumblebee like sweeping through radio stations, and it's like landing on the news and then back.
Oh, okay.
I
All
do
right.
remember that.
Yeah, vaguely. I'm sure I watched it when my son was younger. At some point, we watched a few of those Transformer movies, but that's cool.
Yeah, so I just thought that was an interesting way they made him talk, and it was just funny because I'm sitting here sweeping through those boxes, and they think that's a good way to make Bumblebee talk.
Brandon Cooper says, ask about 18 megahertz. Millihertz?
Megahertz. It's
Megahertz.
infrasound. That is sound that is below the human hearing level.
Yeah.
Which can cause depression.
But it's really not. I mean, it is. But
Okay.
At amplitude, it is. Like, it's not that powerful. It is below your perception. But if it's strong enough, like you're gonna know it's there.
And you have to be. It has to be around you a lot because they have found.
People like they have side effects from infrasound, like being in their house, like somewhere where you live or work all day, and there's infrasound, like a steady infrasound source. It can cause like anxiety.
Yeah, you don't want to go anything under like 20.
Or
sound.
Well, that's because that's the now at a certain volume level, right? At a certain amplitude. It'll cause that frequency will cause your eyeballs, the liquid in your eyeballs, to vibrate.
At what frequency?
At 18 million.
Oh.
Wow.
And so, like, that is barely noticeable, but like you have to be looking for it. You have to know what's going on to notice, right? But so that allegedly makes hallucinations, and I'm not going to say allegedly. I'm going to say it does create hallucinations, right? But the question is, if you're somewhere haunted, right, can you harness that fluid vibration in your eyeballs, that ability to see things that you wouldn't normally see, to see something that you wouldn't normally see there at that haunted location that would be valid to that location?
Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting
That's
thought.
interesting. Yeah.
Very. It reminds me a little of that horror movie frequency. Is it related to that? Where that kind of there's a frequency I think that's like below our hearing that has been used or experimented with in horror
really
movies
low.
that make you feel.
Just like with the dog whistle.
It's infrasound. That's it.
Just like with a dog whistle, you can't hear it.
Wow.
You can't hear it. But dogs,
Yeah, I've never heard about it in relation to vision. So that is definitely
Yeah, it's interesting.
definitely cool.
Definitely.
That's why it does cause anxiety, but that's really why the anxiety is all there and the fear is because your body's reacting to this crazy vibration that it sees as it feels that there's something. Okay, so for example, the reason why we experience fear, they think when we hear infrasound and we're not knowing it, but we're hearing it, it's there, right? Is maybe at some point in our history, we had to worry about a predator that produced that sound, right? So, like, if you look at the big cats, they produce, like, lions, right?
The purring, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, cats purr. Their purr is actually at an infrasound.
Oh wow!
And then parts of their purr anyway. And big cats, their roar is infrasound and their growl, right? So that's how animals have evolved to avoid those predators, is by listening for those sounds. So that's why animals a lot of times will hear those infrasounds that we don't hear outright, or we're experiencing side effects from them, but we can't hear it, right? So we don't know what's going on. Animals, they can hear it, and
Yes.
so they know. Right?
Wow. Yeah, it's actually through our instincts then, and evolution that we maybe come to worry about those frequencies. That's fascinating. Yeah,
Maybe.
that reminds me of pareidolia and your brain putting like faces together when you look at clouds and
Yeah.
things
because we
have
have
to look
programmed, we've evolved to look for faces to recognize other humans.
Our son thinks pareidolia is. Tell him about how Logan thinks it's like some kind of.
I wish we never told him that word.
What he thinks is like a condition.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I have pareidolia. So he'll get all freaked out. He'll get all freaked out, right? He'll come running, and Lexi's like, "What's wrong with you, man?" He's like, "There's a face in the window and in the living room." And she's like, "No, it's not. There's not a face. You're crazy." He's like, "I'm not crazy. It's just pareidolia. I have pareidolia." Okay?
Yeah, it's a condition. But I do tell him, I'm like, you have to investigate that. Why do you see a face there?
Like,
there's normally a logical
how dare you
explanation.
discriminate against me?
Yeah, he gets
I
mad.
have pareidolia.
He's like, no, I have pareidolia happening. And I'm like,
That's
look,
I just don't like people with pareidolia.
yeah, he's
It's wicked funny.
I love that. It's a condition.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people suffer from that condition.
Yes.
I do
I'm
as
pretty
well.
confident. That's
because I do as well.
Suffer from pareidolia.
Yeah.
maybe it was Bigfoot looking in the window. You
I
know.
struggle with pareidolia my whole life.
What was the mirror thing that we were working on? Like, like we were going to do
I
like
do lots of mirror stuff.
yeah, like we were.
Which mirror thing?
I know, that's what I'm saying. So, what's like? He works on a lot of different stuff.
I don't want to just go talking about
Okay,
it.
whatever.
I ain't put it out yet. I don't want to talk about it.
He hasn't put out a lot of
No,
stuff.
it's fine.
Let me
Okay,
tell
so
you.
look,
There's a lot going on in that garage of yours, I think,
Yeah,
Katie.
the
I
basement.
don't put it out and I don't talk about it, then I'm either A, not done with it, or B, not happy with it, and don't want anybody to know about it.
Nope, that makes sense. So
There is
But it's
no
interesting. You can do scrying with it. It's neat.
that
That's
does
awesome.
sound cool.
Do you guys want to talk about some of the stuff that you have released and what you got coming out? Like, what are the differences between some of the boxes?
Oh, Lord.
The ink box versus
Well,
the
like I was saying,
manual.
okay, so the ink box is pretty standard nowadays. Since I designed a
User
circuit.
friendly.
Well, yeah, I used to build all the circuits, like the board by hand. I'd solder all the traces by hand and all that stuff, and so it's completely like every single board was like a hand painted canvas, which was very highly time consuming, and so I had to make it a quicker process. So I actually designed a custom board, and I order them and I have them made and shipped to me. So I get these boards and I just order my parts that go on the boards and I solder them down in place, and they're all everything's like got a place to go. Pop them in, solder them down, and so it goes by pretty quickly and very standard now. So there's an ink box, and it's basically just linear, up and down sweep.
Okay.
Crank suction.
Yeah, and it's not a hack shack.
Style.
It's not a hack shack.
Shack.
Whatever. Yeah, it's not
I say the same thing still, Ram.
Hack shack is like the opposite of the love shack.
Oh, I love that song, by the way.
I do too.
I'll jam on that song.
Hack shack is
We
where
got a shack hack actually.
that's where Leatherface hung out at.
Oh, no, you ruined it.
There you go.
Here's our shack hack.
There's our shack hack
Our hack shack.
from way back.
Hack shack.
Hey, those are cool, man.
Yeah.
Those are.
They are.
All right.
I like.
I took a capacitor on it. I thought I was doing something, but I think it's great to hear now. So even with something like the ink box, where you're having the boards produced for you, you're still taking the time to put the components in yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's not like
there's
completely
a lot
made
of
from
time
your
to
own.
design the board.
Yeah.
Wow.
and
That's awesome.
It's basically like I had to draw it, and then place all my components where everything goes, and then I just had that design converted into an actual board, and then send it. So the amount of work's there, but like, you know, in reality, if I were like to charge by time for an ink box doing it the old way, it's too expensive for me.
Yeah, because it takes that long. The board can eat up a lot of the
It
time.
would be worth it for anybody to spend that much money on something that it took me so long to do that could be cut down. So I mean, I've cut all the fat, I've cut as much fat as possible, and we're about where we're going to stay on that for a while.
Right. It's nice to have like the custom. You could go online and he designed.
And I could add stuff to it or whatever.
And it makes production what. And plus, it took us a while to even find a company where the boards weren't all jacked up and
a
lot of technicalities. Like he'll design it right, but then when he was
don't, and you send it off, you buy them, and then it
like
takes
hundreds of dollars,
3
thousands
weeks to get them back. And get back all wrong.
Wow.
Makes you want to throw. Like he started throwing stuff away. Like no, I'm kidding. No, he's like, no, the tire's bent out all this money.
So that's that
hey,
one.
Linda,
So I was
hello.
I was able to standardize that one, and so
Awesome.
That's how that one always works. Right? So the Nanocom is pretty much standard too. There's a change every once
When
in a while.
we say
like
standard, we mean standard to us.
No, I mean,
Right.
like,
It still has
Yeah.
a wealth of features that are not in the
last one will sound similar to this one, and so on and so forth. That's the way. That's standard to me.
Yeah.
You know?
works with EMF. Will change its speed according to EMF fluctuations, correct?
Right. That's the standard for the Nanocom.
Hmm.
Right. Y'all's has a
very
couple like beta gadgets on it, but outside of that, that's basically how the Nanocom is. And so that's the standard for that. And the label box is just kind of like it's an art piece, kind of. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's like I'll take your suggestions into account if I'm building you an ink box or a label box. But at the end of the day, it's I'm gonna build it like how it comes through, right? Like you know, it's got to do with the builder too. I think a lot of times with it's almost like
absolutely
superstitious, but it's like an enchantment. We'll call it that.
Yeah.
You put your own.
You're a painter out there. You're putting your own thing on there, just saying, "Hey, I want a Mona Lisa." Yeah, it's going to look different, artist to artist, right?
It's going to look different. It's going to sound different. You know, it's going to be whatever. Because you know,
He's actually a psychic.
I used to not be so.
He doesn't tell anybody.
So metaphysical crazy like I am nowadays. But like now I'm more of a. I just lean into it. It's like screw it, you know. There's not an explanation for a lot of things, and you know
that's okay.
Yeah,
no,
but then we got these amazing.
Not be able to explain how something works, and just know that it works, right?
Yeah, check it off as boop. That's supernatural. I can't explain it. Is what it is.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a clear difference between that and fooling yourself, obviously, but you know.
Yes, that's right.
Great.
We understand because we want to know the hows and whys.
Yeah, that's a big driving force.
Ever gonna know?
Sometimes you just can't know, and that's the nature of something.
Sadly,
you can't know.
We're open to figure it out.
We'll figure it out one day. We'll keep changing. It's like you can do that, and that's probably the case for me. I'm trying to make a perfect ghost box, but there'll never be a perfect ghost box. That's probably the right answer, and you know that's just the way it is. But if you don't settle for that, you just keep plugging. You know?
Absolutely. Hey, Chris Palzano out there. Afternoon all.
Yes, sir.
Chris is been a frequent guest on Bigfoot and the Bunny.
He's a friend of
artist. And,
we worked with some Bigfoot people. We did a documentary on the red-headed giants.
Bigfoot people. They're not as actually tall as you would think they are.
He's actually into Puckwudgies. He's the guy that brought the name Puckwudgie out into mass media.
I saw, Puckwudgie's an interesting.
It's like a very small Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It's a little foot.
Yeah, it's a mini foot.
We had fun researching and
cryptids are cool. You know, I want to check out other stuff too one day. Right now, it's just ITC seems to be
Yeah, Bigfoot and the bunny for us is a name. We're not really cryptozoologists.
Yeah,
I've never seen Bigfoot. I've never gone footing. I
yeah,
would love
I mean,
Yes, I never gone through.
I haven't either.
Never
I
gone
know. I know. I want to do it too. I saw what's his name? Willie. His name Willie. Is that his name?
Yeah.
At
I think it's
the one of the mountain monster guys. I mean, you know, their show's obviously like a little overboard, but
I like their show.
but you know, it looks like it'd be fun. It looks fun, right? It looks like they're having fun.
You said they're flamethrower.
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
They're just shotguns. Ah, it's over here. It's chaos.
It's good. I like it.
It's funny.
Yeah, it
So,
can be a little crazy.
I told him, I was like, dude, I know you like to build your traps for Bigfoot. But
Yeah.
the problem is you never catch anything. It always tears your traps up, man. You got to get more high tech.
Yeah, that's strong. Yeah.
You got to get some laser sensors and stuff in there. I tell you what, just bring me out, and you know we'll build a trap on an episode.
fill it with darts, you know, like tranquilizers.
That's what I was thinking. Like
Really?
use some kind of Indian formula, or
Sure.
Skunk.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
Chris says I really do things with Bigfoot, but if I did, it would be the skunk ape. Now,
Yes.
Chris is in Florida. He's from here, from New England and the Bridgewater Triangle. But in Florida, they have a skunk ape problem.
Yeah,
And I've seen some footage of the skunk ape. It was a little funky. Man,
I think in Louisiana, that was Louisiana too, right? All those little the Gulf area, right?
what are you talking about? Like the gas?
No, the skunk ape. That's
Skunk
what they
ape,
call
yeah.
it. The swamp Bigfoot is a skunk ape.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, they can
Yes.
smell them from
They
far away.
smell, right?
I've seen some footage of them. I
It's
think
like,
we got an
in
interesting
Ohio, it's the grass
strategy.
man, right? It's the Ohio grass man.
Oh, Ohio Grassman. I haven't seen him. No.
I know.
I want to say
He's
that's
got a lot of nutty stuff,
I
though.
know I know it's the grass man, but I want to say it's in Ohio. It's the grass man.
I don't know. There's lots of
He's a good Grassman in Ohio. I knew a guy. I might have called him the Grassman.
Missouri's Momo. Oh, you're talking about the weed guy.
I'm pretty sure I met him at a gas
Oh, my
station
God.
once, too, actually. Oddly enough, you know.
I just kept saying, call me the dude. I'm just the dude. So that's funny. Now he's like, nah, man, I'm the dude.
Dude.
What did you think of George Meek and Bill O'Neill and the Spiricon?
Oh, that's very
There's some
interesting.
controversy there, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
there's always going to be controversy with ITC electron, especially when there's nothing to look at. You know, we don't have anything to look at. We don't know. There is no Spiricon. What's that?
Right. It's our Fight Club.
There. Like, we can't see it. Every attempt to attain it has ended up empty-handed. So, and we know everybody who's probably most of the people who've personally tried to get it and probably made the best damn closest attempt anybody's made, and it's just never there. So I think it's been dismantled into its individual components and gone separate ways over time. Personally,
Yeah, yeah.
or sold separately just for the whatever. But it's definitely not where it was supposed to be.
It's an interesting idea. I don't know.
It's hard to say. I mean, I'm not going to say his. I'm not going to say the video.
Right. I can't say whether it was real or not.
I can't tell you if it was real or not.
But the voices were definitely interesting. William.
Yeah. Really?
But, I mean, you couldn't tell me that my video would be real or not.
Right.
If all
Right.
there was, if I was dead, and all there was that survived in me is a one video of me using a ghost box, and neither I nor the ghost box was there to validate it, then it would be a subject of controversy. And it's the Schrodinger's box. It both did, or Schrodinger's
Yeah.
cat. It did.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, we got what
There's a
you
cat dead or alive. You don't know if you look.
Both.
Mm.
Both.
I agree. The story I told you about the hello in our ears and not being on the recorders and stuff.
need. Yeah.
You can believe us or not,
That's
but
personal experience, and it's crazy. That it's crazy that the most powerful type of experience is that personal experience, but it's also the least likely to be captured. It's hard to capture a personal experience unless you just
And it'd be hard to believe.
Do the
Exactly.
right
I
time, right
mention it
place.
because people sometimes overlook that personal experience, and you had made mention of that.
Or
And,
they'll downplay it
very
by
important.
your reaction. It's either they overreacted, or they're overreacted, or they underreacted, or so.
They didn't react the way that they.
Well, I mean, what is the right way? Like when we do see a ghost, when we do get a picture of a ghost, when do we know it's a ghost?
Yeah, right. Actually, one of the most convincing bits of full body apparition footage I ever saw was on Ghosts of Morgan City. And
That was a really good one. That was super clear and it was unexplained. So yeah, and Ben
was fantastic.
Ben validated it and everything, so he was there, and I'll take Ben's word for it.
Yeah.
So
Right on. So, do you have any favorite locations out there you like to visit? Do you repeat visit?
Well, we have a lot of.
The McNeely house is.
That's probably the most powerful like haunting we've ever done.
I like the
There's a lot of
Waters.
locations that we frequent that we do like events at, and the Pythian Castle.
And we have the Defiance, little town in Defiance.
Yeah, we go to Ohio a lot,
Mm-hmm.
like Bryan, Ohio, and hang out
Okay.
with Andrew out there.
Underground Paranormal.
And,
Yeah, it seems like a lot of things going on in Ohio. I mentioned that.
Yes.
yeah,
earlier.
so they got a lot of cool places that we've been back to a lot up there, and just in Kansas City, we don't really do any of the big places in Kansas City. It's kind of weird because every time I meet somebody, they're like, "Oh man, have you been to the Oddfellows home,
The Belvoir.
the Belvoir Winery?" And I'm like,
I've been there.
No, I haven't been there. And how about what's the other place? It's close to us. It's the winery. What's the other?
The Belvoir Winery, and then you have
The Elms.
oh, the Elms. I've been there to the Elms.
And they're like, "Have you been to the Elms?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah,
Have you been to the Missouri State Penitentiary?
No, I've never been there.
And
Well,
those
what
are
do you
places
do?
that are
You're a
close to
ghost
you.
hunter, right? You're on TV. You haven't been to all these places. I'm like, I've been on like a couple episodes of a few shows, and I, I don't like going to the high traffic places.
Mhm.
The places. I mean, it's
Right,
not-
the known
it's
touristy type places. We're saying.
Right. Well, I mean, not necessarily just that. Just places where so much work's been done. Like if I don't feel like I need to go there and do something there, or if I feel like there's not work for me to do there, then I'm just not going to go there.
I've heard people comment that a lot of people bring in their own energies, and then a lot of times what you're getting is the residual because they're running so many tours of people through them,
We get phone calls
getting
actually.
their stuff.
Yeah, we get phone calls from people who investigate the Belvoir. They like, I think I got an attachment from Belvoir, and I was like, well, whoever was conducting the investigation, call that team, talk to that team, tell them your experience and what's going on. But the the winery.
I mean, I can't say the place is haunted or not. I'm just saying that it probably is. Probably like extremely haunted. But like, there's been so many people investigated. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Oh yeah, the
That's
Hall of
gonna,
Waters.
like, make
I love Hall of Waters.
Or being different
Love
from
Hall of
what
Waters.
other people have done. I mean, plenty of people's got plenty of evidence there. Am I gonna
Jeff
be the
Reed says,
key
remember
that opens it up? No, probably not. So
The Shawnee Indian Mission
I feel like there's
was
work.
good too.
There's the reason why we do what we do
Mhm.
is because we feel like we're supposed, there's some kind of purpose there, right? And my purpose isn't to just hit all the haunted places.
Right.
It's not to just hit I've been I got the tour
And
t-shirt on.
he wouldn't get I went to the Villisca Axe Murder House, and he goes, "No, Villisca, whatever." And he goes, that place is, a lot of people's done that. I'm not going to go. And I'm like, well,
I mean, it's dumb because
So
that's
I
the
went-
why. I don't need to go.
I
They don't
went-
need me. They don't need me there. If they need me there, they'll be like, "Hey, KD, we need you and your
what was it?
specific
It
skill
was
set."
it was myself and Stephanie O'Reilly, who owns the McIntyre Villa. It was me and her, and we didn't start getting any action until it was about 12:03 a.m. in the morning, and stuff. Your MAD device was going off upstairs, and motion lights were going off, and she's like, "Are you ready now?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not ready. Just let it be." Because because people come in and are like, "Is everybody here?" The whole time we were there until after midnight, we were just doing. She was like filling out her schedule. I was doing historical research, and the whole time we weren't communicating with nothing. We were just sitting there doing our work, and all of a sudden at 12:03, weird things started happening there. And then she's like, "Come on, let's go. Stuff's happening." I'm like, no, not yet.
Wait for it.
And the weirdest thing was the dad. What?
Love face.
Yeah, I'm blocking.
Oh, you see that? I don't know what is with YouTube lately.
Stripes without clothing.
What's that mean? I don't get it.
The worst scam
You've been
on YouTube.
Yeah.
You've been, what's the word? Solicited.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, YouTube is pretty notorious for it. We were getting Nazi spam the other day. That was a new one.
Nice.
Yeah, like a swastika and all. I'm like, really? What?
Nazis and zombies seem to go together.
You know, they do. They do. Actually, what did we just watch? What's the name of that movie?
Iron Sky,
Iron Sky.
Yeah.
The coming of the new race. That was
race.
wild. There was a lot of funny conspiracy references in that.
Yeah, there's a movie called Dead Snow too. It was Nazi.
Oh, I've seen some of that. Yeah. I play Call of Duty. I mean, you gotta
Call of Duty. Yes. Call of Duty
there's Nazis on the moon. You gotta kill them.
Yeah, Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
Had the zombie mode. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I heck
Is just Black Ops or was it Modern Warfare 3? Yeah, it had zombie mode, didn't it?
Right. I had Modern Warfare had the it wasn't Triarch zombies. It was like a different company or something, right?
Right.
I think they saved the Triarch ones for the Black Ops.
Right. Yeah, that was the more fun. I don't know.
More of a story with it.
I enjoyed Modern Warfare zombies better.
Yeah, they're all good. They're all good. Yeah. I raised my son with the Call of Duty stuff, and he was better than me. That by the time he was like I don't know 6 or 7.
Hey, there's of course.
Startling realization. My little kid is like better at me than this.
Their reaction times, they're naturally going to be better. Their reaction times quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
like
right off the bat, they've got you at a disadvantage because their reaction time is just naturally faster because you're as old as you are. However, if you're 30, you're still 30 years less. I'm saying, but even if you're that young, your reaction time is slowed significantly from what it was when you were younger. So.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, it just gets worse.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, right. That's why it's sort of the boomer thing, right? Like, I don't want to use cell phones.
Yeah, right.
It's because they don't want. It's
harder
for people.
Giant buttons. They really need like those. They need the giant buttons on the cell phone, right? They're kind of like those '80s style cell phones. I can hold them up here.
Right.
You can see them. I can dial your number.
Not only due to death and blindness, which comes with old age, but also like just in general, like I don't want to have to learn something all over again and then react to all this new stuff. It's like, hey, you don't want to do that. The older you get, the harder it gets to like build that connection to a new thing. So
yeah, I say thanks to Logan. Like, what do you mean there's no auto aim?
It's so weird to hear you talk about your son and say Logan because my kid's named Logan.
Yeah,
right.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'll talk about my kid.
So let's go back to those boxes. I think we covered 3 of them. If you have any other boxes out there or something coming out that people want to be
those
looking
are those are the 3 like production type boxes, right? Like I built all kinds of.
We have the plasma box.
Crazy. I mean, and they're all like a lot of them are just one-offs. Like I don't mean to start a line of the boxes. I just build one, and it is what it is. It exists in its own universe.
Right. And you'll see most of these boxes.
Really, truly custom.
It exists outside of the series.
The way you can see some of these boxes is by coming to events because we always bring something
different
and that nobody has seen to every event that we're invited to. We're always going to bring something that has not been publicized or
try to.
Right. And so that's one good way to see some of the stuff that we're working on is by going to the events that we are invited to or that we are, go to. So, because we always like to bring something special.
But yeah, like I say, if I'm happy with something when I build it, then it'll be out there. So if you go on like my Instagram, right? My Instagram's got tons. That's probably the most. If you're trying to find the most well documented like pictures and every descriptions of my boxes, you'll probably find it in the Instagram.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And like I say, the Legba is like my version of just one of my one-off boxes, but it's close to a production type. It's like a production one-off box. So
when that's Legba, like Papa Legba.
Right. So it's not like a certain specific. It was at first, right? So it initially started out. I'm going to do this like this. I'm going to use this and this thing together, and this. And then I was like, but I can change that and make it better. And then
yeah, I can't wait.
And then it became like, okay, I don't even like all these different ways are good. They're all good, and they all work well in different situations. Like, so the boxes end up being just individuals. And
what was the box you used on Gus in Morgan City?
That was a Necrotom. That was like the first. So I had to name a box, right? Because I made a ghost box, and I hadn't named it anything. And everybody's like, what's what are you calling it? I'm like, hey, it's a freaking ghost box, man. Spirit box. I don't know, what is it? And so they were like, well, you got to name this KD box. I was like, no, I don't want to do that, man. Other people have done that, and that's cool. They did that, but I don't need that, right? So I don't have a KD's box out there. Maybe there might be one day.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sounds good. What kind of events do you have coming up?
What are we doing?
So we are doing is it the Necromancer in Ohio?
Oh, yeah. So, but I don't know the dates.
I do. I have the dates. They are, so we have, I think there's a total of 4 of those in Ohio. We're also doing, let me get let's see here.
Yeah, so there's like going to be 4 events in Ohio.
We'll be doing the Pythian Castle March 12th. Also, I believe
everything is tentative too.
Yeah. Also,
these days, right?
Yeah.
And then also the KC Spirits and Paranormal Convention. That's March 19th.
I do know that it is Mormon, Texas.
And then we're doing Middle Point in Ohio
on
the 8th and 9th. I think it's the 8th and 9th. I think he might be doing it for 2 nights, but I can double check. Then also, what's this one? Also, we are having, I'm hosting an event on May 13th, Friday the 13th, and May 14th.
Friday the 13th.
Well, so we'll have Cindy Kaza, Sarah Limos, and intuitive medium Jessica Potter. And KD. I
want a cool name.
You have a cool name.
Oh, everybody's like, oh yes.
And KD.
I'm Cindy Kaza, world famous psychic, intuitive, and psychometry. And I'm Sarah Limos, world renowned psychic medium. And I'm Jessica Potter, world renowned psychic, investigator, intuitive. And then there's KD.
Yeah.
Technomancer is a pretty cool name, though. I like that.
He picked up the paranormal mad scientist, but I don't think.
Yeah, paranormal mad scientist. I just
like
saw
that
out there in social media.
Yeah, so we'll have the paranormal mad scientist. So it's an all weekend thing. Cindy Cause is going to be doing a gallery reading, and she's actually donating the funds. Portions of the funds to the American Legion and a portion of the funds to the Smithville, Missouri Historical Museum and Inn. We like to, the events that we go to, because Well, I'm a preservationist.
PTF, Paranormal Task Force.
Yes.
If you go on Paranormal Task Force page, you'll see a lot
No,
of
we can go there. How do we get to that?
just Facebook, Paranormal Task Force.
There we go.
Yeah, so we have yes, the weekend camp out, ghost hunt number 2, July 8th through the 9th. I'm not sure if the Tennessee Ray Chasers are going to be at that one.
Thank you, Beth.
There are going to be a lot of people at that one. It's called the.
Debbie, yes, the inventor.
You can find the information for that like on our Facebook page, and then the first one, like I said, is in March, and that is also on our Facebook page.
There you go. Yeah, I just added Paranormal Task Force. I see Pythian Castle up there. Looks gorgeous.
Oh, it's an awesome place.
Yeah.
It's big. It's really cool.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know
it looks
how.
cute.
Yeah, you know how people always thought maybe the Masons had something to do with Lincoln's death.
Freemasons, yes.
Yeah. So, but if you look as a historian, I won't give my opinion because I'm not allowed to do that. But as a historian, but anyways, Lincoln actually supported the Knights of the Knights of the Pythians, and he did a speech about how their organization. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, that place is awesome. Well, guess who the Knights of the Pythian was associated with?
Who?
The Knights of the Golden Circle.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And guess who was in the Knights of the Golden Circle?
who?
Who killed Lincoln?
Who?
Booth.
Oh,
Oh, Booth. Really?
Wow.
Wow.
So Lincoln endorsed the Knights of the Pythians.
what?
Yes, I have.
And they
I
killed it?
I don't know. I'm not saying that.
Holy shit.
I'm not going to give you my opinion.
That's a big deal.
I present you the historical information. Don't bring us up.
Oh my God.
Oh,
He's
Brandon,
been revealed.
Allegedly.
Again, you gotta say.
they're blaming the Masons.
Allegedly.
They're blaming the Masons.
Everything we're saying is alleged.
No, these are actual documents.
Allegedly,
I
documents.
have the documents.
Allegedly.
They're newspaper articles. They're from reliable sources, from
Right.
universities.
Allegedly.
It's not allegedly. It's
Everything's
true.
alleged. So you don't get sued.
This is
Right,
this is
exactly.
the stuff people discuss. There's
Dude,
proof.
no, you're killed.
Doesn't matter. You just say it.
Disappear.
Proof doesn't really matter all the time.
There's like he did a whole speech talking how great the Knights of the Pythians
Allegedly.
are, and yeah, it's just weird how they were affiliated with Knights of the Golden Circle, and Jesse James was in the Knights of the Golden Circle. I mean, Booth, a whole bunch of people. So why were they blaming the Masons? I'll just leave it there because I can't.
Brandon's like, I know where y'all live. What?
That is extremely interesting.
And
I
Marie
like
says you
that.
can't tell the
Well, it's
truth on the
helpful
moon.
if you're coming to the house. It's helpful to know where we live.
In theory.
Yeah. So all I could do as a historian is just present you with the information that I found from reliable.
In theory, this is correct. Beth.
They're not theories. It's actually happened.
Well, actually, it happened. Allegedly, yes.
There's a lot of missing people out there. That's all I'm
Boy,
saying.
man, you are going to get reamed a new one when you come into the show.
I was gonna get it
People
anyway.
miss her all the
Yeah,
time.
Stop
I'm
it.
just
Stop it.
just chewing up the scenery right now.
Yeah.
Linda says, love all that history research, Kate.
Yes.
Yes, I did a lot.
That is awesome. That's
Yeah,
cool.
Kate's,
I love good history.
Mhm.
You know,
See, how I investigate, I don't invest like before I go to a location I've never been to. I don't look up that location. I actually look up the town or city that it's in, and I'll go through like a timeline of events that happened in just the city until I get some evidence. That's like triggering jackknifing. Anyway, but so I'll go through like a timeline of events that occurred in the town of whatever location, and then I research the location, and I learned that from you. You rubbed off on me with your hand movements.
I did not. I did no such thing. That's dirty of you to say. On
Okay.
live,
I
whatever
think-
that means.
I
It
think-
sounded dirty.
I think I need to ding you.
Something about rubbing off on somebody.
I need to ding you. Chakra
I don't even know
bells.
what that means.
Anyways, I totally forgot what I was
rubbing
talking about.
chakras over here.
Do I know?
You're all rubbing chakras
I
over
know,
there.
right?
He won't let me ding him. He won't let me align his chakras.
Because I don't know what that means, man. I need to look that up on Urban Dictionary before I.
Urban.
What does ding my chakras mean?
You know, KD does really good at automatic writing and drawing.
Really?
No.
Y'all know
I'm
that
with you.
about him.
I did not know
That's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. I
That's
have been
really
pressing
cool.
him for years and years and years, and finally, somebody was going to beat him up, Cindy Kaza, if he did not pursue this. And he was like, I don't need two women beating me up. And she did. She finally talked to him. She's like, look, you can do this. And he's like, oh, my wife, you know.
Yeah, it sounded exactly like that too. Amazing how quality that impression was.
But no, he really does
Somewhere
really
between
good.
Katie and a schnauzer, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like a angry,
Where's your bone?
angry
Where's the
dog.
toy? He's a toy out.
So that's really cool to
That is good that you're pursuing those
actually-
psychic
yeah.
things.
right.
Yeah, no, we love that. We're into it. We remote view. We're totally into all those things.
Yeah, I'm into it too. As far as me doing it personally, I never really put a lot of thought into that because I was more into like trying to like figure out how it works.
Well,
How
it's
it
like
works,
different
right?
sides of
Remember
your brain.
how does it work? You kind of have to, some things you gotta let that how it works go. I'm not in the frame here. It's because
There you are.
There you are.
There's cucumbers.
It's probably, you're probably
I'm not
better.
going to bite you.
You're easy to look at than me.
Yeah.
anyway.
No,
There you go.
never.
Yeah.
So,
we should have But I think that's fascinating because you have your
Yes.
left brain, right brain, and it's
Mhm.
thought like the right brain controls the left side, and the left side controls the right side.
Yeah.
And the
Kinda like
one
what
side
you're
is more
saying.
logic, one side is more creative and open to psychic interpretation.
Yeah, so, you know, Supernatural Ink, when I say Supernatural Ink, but, you know, we're more than just developing equipment. We just do our own thing, and we're not out to prove anything to anybody. So,
well, I mean, it's like, so, just, like we were saying earlier, experiences, right? Just,
Right.
We do what we do,
yeah.
and when we can, record those experiences,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. It is what it is. We're not
JD's a good
saying-
dowser, too. Let me tell you.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that I put full belief in anything and specifically. Yeah, I do believe that things can
Yeah,
communicate
yes,
with
Beth.
us 100%. But how all that works, I can't tell you. So I don't like to go into a lot of detail about things that I don't.
That's
I can't
what-
explain. I can't explain.
That's my
What-
friend.
can't-
It's the quest
yeah,
for
it's
the
like,
grail. Like, how
I'm
does
sitting
it
here
all
like,
work?
oh, okay, I don't know how to explain it. So
Right. That's why we call it data and not evidence, because
Right.
We say data.
we
Yeah.
say data or data, whatever. We're from Massachusetts.
Data, tomato.
Yeah, but
Right.
that's why we don't say evidence, because we don't know, like you said.
Yeah, we're from like Boston and Rhode Island and places like that. So
I go with the Picard for pronunciation. It's data.
Data. Yeah.
But that was a dude thing.
and now you put your Bigfoot in. All right, now this is getting way too kinky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rubbing chakras on. I'm just the mental pictures are just terrible.
A lot of, like X-rated paranormal.
It's bad enough,
Right?
yeah, that we got it going on the spam there. On
That's the next thing. I'm sure it's
Right,
out there. I think probably on Pornhub. There's some paranormal
I
porn.
could
out there.
bring up a
There
theory.
definitely
I could
is,
bring up a theory, but I will not. I'll just leave it there.
You won't? Okay.
Thank you.
Don't they
I
have
mean, he knows where I was going with this one.
the SLS cameras have a bunch of those on there? With
Oh yeah,
stick
that's
figures?
Celeste figures. You know, they're always doing things.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're getting down.
Yeah,
They
she's
do,
supposed to say something so
Like
bad.
SOS
Yeah.
camera, skeletons like humping chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
But there'll be
Little
like
arms going.
two skeletons.
I think I had one humping my arm at one point. Like,
Yeah.
It was
like
a
techno rave humping
It
my
was a
arm.
ghost dog. Okay.
I feel something in my ear.
Like it was a small one. It was like this big, and it was on my arm,
I told you that was a ghost
having
dog.
its way with my arm.
Oh my god, you guys are killing me. I'm
Brown
dying.
chicken, brown cow.
I love when he does that. Do it. Yeah, he does it all the time.
That's awesome.
God.
Oh, come on.
What the hell is that?
Oh, that's the vibrator.
Leave your vibrator on.
Of all people, you should know that. It's like
I was an EVP from
techno.
Pornhub. I think.
Built it.
Was it?
Yeah, wow.
Wow, this just went south real
Oh,
quickly. It's
Instructables.
bad.
X-rated instructables.
Hey, if it wasn't invented before, we've got it here now.
There we go.
There you go, folks.
Oh.
Tutorial on it.
Oh God.
Who knows
my
what
God.
algorithms we'll be falling into in social
Oh,
media
yeah.
at this point?
They'll have to make a
Talk
new,
about
they'll
some
have to-
frequencies.
they'll have to make a,
Right?
Oh
make a
man.
new algorithm. We'll break the algorithm.
This is terrible. Oh,
Oh,
well,
that's so
good
awesome.
question. Yes.
All right,
thank
some
you.
comments out here. Linda says that's a good neutral position saying data. Until
It is,
everyone
but
can get
it's
tuned
really-
in, data is the way to go.
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
we agree.
really non-subjective way.
Yeah. I'm more about environmental factors when I'm researching. So, when I do my history work, and then I have just all about environmentals. It fascinates me of why is one person is feeling a fluctuation in the barometric pressure, and
Right.
Have a cat?
a cat?
Yes.
Y'all have a cat. Okay. thank
Never
you.
mind.
If y'all don't have a cat, then we got a problem.
We have
Johnny's
our
like-
cat passed away a month ago, so
Oh,
Oh.
I'm
our
sorry.
ashes are up here. So
Oh,
So we
Yeah.
still have a problem.
Actually up behind the-
We have, we have ashes as well. I just-
yeah, for a cat we
So
lost.
when you say environmental, you mean like we're saying
Habitable.
barometric pressure, and do you do like the cycles of the moon, and do you get into all that?
yes,
Okay,
all that takes a factor,
it does. I agree.
and because I just find it fascinating. It's like when someone they're like, my ears are popping. I feel like my ears are popping, and the person standing
Mhm.
next to them,
Aren't
they're right. So I'm like, okay, barometric pressure also has to do with height. Come to
Yes.
So does a couple feet matter?
Yes.
yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're telling me that pressure systems can push down, like where's that?
It can get very.
It is
technical.
interesting. It's very
It
interesting.
can get
I
pretty.
think there's a lot of questions there. There's a lot of interesting. That's a rabbit hole. It's the same way with
It
all
is
environmental
it is a
stuff.
they all are, but that's a big rabbit hole. But it's the truth that has something to do with it. I definitely agree with you, Katie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's cool because I want to take those and translate them into something. If that's what it is, if it's even translatable, or is it just maybe a byproduct of something of them even being there, maybe,
Well, the same thing like with static levels. We'll say you have a high humidity,
Yeah.
like at 95%,
Mhm.
but the air just all of a sudden feels dry. Because I've had some people.
So what does that mean?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's unexplained. You can't explain it.
Right.
It's
but it-
cool to document it, but it's cool to document it. And that
we
that can-
document it, and maybe something like that again the next time it feels like that or is like that in the environment.
Yeah, you might be able to assign
to
that to
kind
some
of
sort of
data.
response or something to something.
Yeah.
else.
Data.
Right. You look at the data and bump it all up against each other.
Yes.
And then what do you do with that? Then you translate that into some sort of language if you can, right?
Well,
So that because that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to translate that into a message and not just be numbers on a chart or numbers on a graph that go up and down and say, okay, well, we're getting, so these things do align. And so it does say that, and you can get a lot of information from that. Bumping that data up from different experiments, and there's a lot of variables and this, that, and the other. Yes. But
I agree.
but
it's
what?
still helpful. It's super helpful.
And it's like, why is some locations, that element, that natural element, okay, the environmental aspect is different at other locations. And it could just be from maybe minerals, limestone or something, and running water.
Yes.
Like sometimes I don't want to say a bad word. Sometimes things would be so out of whack
Good job.
with humidity, with the barometric pressure, temperature fluctuation, and then also
Bye, Greg.
the sound frequency, because we have the sound device that's tells you how high the frequencies are, and it's all just it's not steady. And
Right.
I'm looking for something that's a dramatic drop or dramatic rise.
But then it's not always dramatic, is it? Or is it depending? Is it dependent on what you're interacting with? And I
Right.
it's funny
It
that
does.
Right.
Yes.
Angela says, "I'll come with you."
On
Notes.
their frequency and vibrational level.
I can make a good steak.
Yeah.
But,
No,
yeah.
I think all those things can absolutely play a role. They're at least telling you something changed, right? There was some kind of reason why that changed, and maybe you're looking at on a bigger scale.
Well, is there a
Why
certain
is
time?
a natural reason to it, or was there something unusual?
Could be. Does it happen? Does it recur at a certain time, at a certain date, on a certain date? Is it in a certain place, in a certain specific spot in that place?
Well, I
Is it
I
like,
attend some of the environmental aspects, especially at our headquarters, as a type of portal activity. I mean,
It can be. Yeah, I think that's
with stuff like with your compass. I mean, you can get old fashioned. I mean, we use, we get a
What?
compass out.
right.
Why the hell is that damn compass all of a sudden just started doing this one day?
Well,
And then all the environmental stuff is like, we're cold, we're hot, our palms are sweaty. And it's like, what the hell's going on here? I mean, is it?
Yeah.
But
I
then
love that you mentioned
sometimes that
temples.
happens. Sometimes that happens.
Mm.
Sometimes you still feel that way.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it does register on your devices that those changes are happening. But then sometimes it doesn't register, but you still feel those changes physically,
Yeah.
but then they don't register on your devices. So like physically around you, nothing's changed, but your perception of, how cold you are or warm you are or whatever
Sure.
will change in response to activity, right? But it might not be actually happening around
Yeah, I'll
you.
bust out the
It's just-
thermal.
It doesn't get measured. You might feel
Kind of the
cold,
same
but
way
the
you would,
thermometer didn't dip, right?
right? It's kind of like you hearing a disembodied voice and the person next to you not hearing it. Right?
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
similar to that, like something that you experience only, like a personal experience. Like
Yeah.
if you see something, you look over, you see a ghost. Nobody else seen it, but you seen it, and you knew it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just that's the equivalent to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I swear.
It's you. Doesn't mean it
had your
didn't
camera on it,
because other
and
people
you
did.
no camera, but you saw it with your.
You perceived it.
Right.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, I could have sworn I thought I seen the Boo Buddy one day like move its head, like something was like with the Boo Buddy's head, and I'm like, Lester, are you moving that Boo Buddy's head? Sorry. It freaked me out, and when I went to go look back, when I still make him jump to this day after we been together, I don't know, before we got married to you.
Yeah, it's like living
25
with a
years or
chihuahua.
something. I don't know.
Yeah,
but-
Anita Allen says that I have to use low tech as high tech stuff
Yeah.
goes haywire around me. And that brings it back to that compass. And
Oh.
I just mentioned the point. I use a compass a lot too. And I get it actually from like Hans Holzer books I read when I was a kid. He had a
Yeah, I
compass.
use the compass. I use the compass a lot.
Just a regular
I have like two
Boy
in my,
Scout compass.
my case right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, I have one that's it's a military, like it's for artillery. It's an artillery compass. So it's got mills on it too and everything. And I think I have a lot of compasses.
Yeah.
I
I
think
use
that's
them
cool
a
as
lot.
hell because if that's going and the electronics are going too.
Yeah, I'll set them out. I'll have like mots going, and I'll set the compass out right in front of it, and just see if there's any kind of fluctuations. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it's gonna make it, but there's stuff that I did recently with a compass that will be on TV.
Oh,
I don't want to say too much. I don't know what I can say.
Yeah, I don't know what to ask. I'm like, well, where can we sit?
I don't wanna
No,
spoil
He
it.
hasn't told anybody anything, so you guys are the first ones. Everybody that's on here, this is his first time he's, even
Said
saying
that you're even
Wow.
engaging in this. So
well,
thank you so
I
much.
appreciate you using our
Yeah.
medium, our platform to
I'm grateful.
spread this news because that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't get out much, so I'll do a few podcasts every once in a while, but I don't really do a lot online. I don't get a lot. Get on social media too much anymore.
Well, he works.
Plus, it's just bad for you, man.
It is
Just
bad
be
for you.
on social media. Just all.
It is. We agree. We try not to, but we have friends.
You have to sometimes, right? And
Podcasts are
this is important,
you
though.
can listen
Right, and
while you're,
This will
if
be
that's
one of
part
those.
your job, then that's one thing, right? When that's
Right.
part of your job.
In
And
fact, I think Greg Koss is listening to it right now on his way home. He said he was driving home and he's dying laughing. So
He did. He is having a good time. And this will become an audio podcast as well that you'll be able to get anywhere you get podcasts.
Speaker.
But,
I have a hard time going live and stuff just because I'm doing what I do, right? So if I had somebody that came along and was like, it's time I'm gonna set the camera up over here, KD, and get everything going, and I can just continue doing what I'm doing, I'd be down with that, man. But as it is, I have to stop what I'm doing.
Oh, we love it. It's a big thing of what we do, and we get to talk to people like you, and that, what a gift that is. You know what I mean?
Right.
We get to hear everybody's input on all these aspects of the paranormal, the mysterious, the unusual.
Well, I admire you guys and anybody else who can put together a cohesive and consistent show of any sort on their own and organize it on their own and not have anybody with their foot up your ass doing it. To do it, make you do it,
Yeah, no, we do it. We love it. We're just passionate about it.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
A lot of things.
And I know we hit our 6 o'clock. I don't want to keep you guys.
Yeah, not at all.
But I do have one quick question because I like to ask everybody this and that. Did you have any experiences when you were a kid? Did you have a haunted childhood?
Oh, yeah, I've had. I don't want to say it was a haunted childhood, but I mean, I have had experiences when I was a kid.
Tell them about the dude that you.
The dude.
The dude. You mean the weed dude?
No. Wasn't he a baseball player? Or
Thank you,
something?
Anne Marie.
Baseball player. What was his name? You saw in your room.
Oh no, that was a hallucination. Okay, so I had
hallucinations.
But so that is a weird thing though, right? That happened to me. That is part of my thinking process, right? And how hallucinations work and everything, right? That's the first time I remember ever hallucinating was when.
How old was he? I know how old he was. I'm just answering.
I was 11. 10,
Okay.
11.
Okay.
And so I played football. And I was sick, and I had strep throat. I think it was strep throat. And so I was out of school, and I was in the bed, and I had a fever. And Magnum PI, Tom Selleck.
Oh yeah.
Tom Selleck
just walks into my room, and he's got a box full of football pads and a helmet and football equipment. And he just sets it in the floor, and he just looks at me, and he just turns around and walks out. And I was like, oh, Magnum PI, cool. Thank you, Tom Selleck, but I can't practice today. I'm sick. And that's why I was like, oh, I'm sick, though. I can't go. I think that was my way of, subconsciously punishing myself. That was weird. That was super weird.
But it's real to you. So you're, you're feverish.
Yeah,
you might be an in-between state of consciousness.
Yes. And when you're a kid, right, it's weird to have. It's because it conflicts with the actual experiences that you've had.
In reality, it can get a little strange. I have stories about clowns that are just they're off the wall, man.
You have shadow figures.
That's why I'm not scared of clowns. I'll jack a clown up, dude. I'm telling you what. Anybody who dressed up like a clown, I would.
Yeah, see, yeah. You would think I'd have clownophobia, whatever they call that.
These people on the internet that had the clown craze years back. I know this is real,
I don't. I had some bad experiences though.
Right.
But,
her brother's terrified of clowns.
Oh yeah. When we were stationed in Germany, I would send him in the mail these little creepy little clowns, and there'd be no return address on it or anything like that. And always messing with my brother with clowns, and he actually does not believe in ghosts. He believes aliens are ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
more on,
It might be.
he claims he
Who
was
says they're not?
There, exactly.
Might be.
he's like, they ain't no ghost, that's alien.
You never heard of space ghosts?
There you go. Excellent.
Space ghosts.
Yeah, I think that
I read
aliens
that
may,
possible.
and in between things like angels, demons, like there may be a correlation there. These non-human entities.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
maybe a something similar, or it could be a interdimensional phenomenon. That
Yes.
makes, might be like just a passing through type place.
Sure.
Something of that nature.
Yeah.
Is how to describe it, maybe. Who knows? We don't know these things. If we did, if I knew all the answers to these things,
I really don't want to know
Yeah,
the
man.
answers, because then
I mean,
I'd be like,
do you want to know? Because if you did want to know, you wouldn't have missed it. So you obviously want to know something.
hey, I get cut off. My spirit guy's like, "Vroom, you're done. No more communication," because there's just certain things we shouldn't know.
Well,
Yeah.
It's true.
sometimes people find those things out, and then what happens?
Sometimes they tell us and we just don't listen too. Sometimes I
That's
think the
true.
spirit guide communications are right there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes in hindsight you go, well, there it was.
Yeah.
But
Or it's kind of like
I'm very guilty of that.
we had a interesting little experience the other day. There was a big traffic pileup somewhere, and I can't remember where in the U.S. Right?
I-95.
But so I remember the highway was I-95, but I remember was it snowing?
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of snow. It was like cars lined up down the interstate or somewhere or something. Right?
It's Virginia.
People's cars were breaking down.
Yeah. From the snow.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Did somebody die or
It was in
something?
a couple of states, I think. Yeah, I think some people died. I know one guy was in an Uber and he ended up getting like a $1,000 bill or something because they were stuck on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So like a few weeks ago, I had a dream that
It was
this was
actually
like 2-3 weeks before
it happened.
I saw it on the news, right? So I had a dream about being stuck in a car and it was snowy and just sitting in traffic in the middle of nowhere in the woods and there's snow everywhere, right? And complaining about it, and that's all I can remember from my dream. But Katie's, so I was telling her about the dream the next morning, and she's like, "What do you remember? Anything like the highway number, road number, anything with street name?" I said, "I remember seeing like a interstate or a street or a highway."
And I'm like, "Give me a number."
A road number. It said 95. It was either a 195 or I-95, but I didn't know, right?
Right.
And so. Yeah, then this thing came up.
Yeah.
Jesus.
This
thing came up, and I was like, "Oh shit, dude!" Because they flashed a picture. So it's like, okay, that's cool.
So
But what the hell do I do with that? Like,
Right.
what do I do with that
Right.
now?
It's like a.
This doesn't help me back then. Oh, like
Yeah,
it would be cool
it's
to
like
know that was. What
but
that
nobody would
Right,
believe
right.
you. You'd be like,
Oh yeah, well, like,
So you have to.
who would you warn? Where?
But so you have to take that for yourself to be cautious when you're out
Like
driving.
everybody, like I-95 runs through a lot, 95 runs through a lot of states. So like, who'd you warn in all those states? Like, how would you do that?
Yeah, it's the whole
I
East
mean,
Coast.
So,
Yeah.
so just me understanding
Who
and
would listen?
studying dreams,
Yeah.
I'm real big into numerology, and that's why I'm like, give me numbers. I need numbers because that helps me understand a little bit more. What that was a message, and
Right.
what's not a message.
Right, best of
Right.
premonition. That's
Yeah,
correct.
sometimes it just seems really random.
Mhm.
I was watching an interview with this NDE experiencer, near-death experience person,
Yeah.
that
Oh,
had a
yeah.
book, and she was talking about how she kept seeing these plane crashes, and she would dream about them, and wake up and have this. She wouldn't know where the plane was, when it was going to happen, but she would see the same images on the news whenever that would occur, and she felt like, this is not helping me. She couldn't be like a warn to people because she had no idea where they were, but she'd see the same imagery that she had seen in her dreams, and she felt tortured by it, frankly. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy,
From
right?
writing the book would stop it or something.
Yeah,
Right.
I would rebuke that.
And it makes me
I
wonder:
rebuke it.
is it a premonition or is there maybe a different? Okay, so when you get to be interdimensional being, right? Like interdimensional beings can travel in the different dimensions that we can't perceive, right? So
Right.
when you're up there and you're like 9th, 10th, interlevel dimensions, interdimensional, and you can transverse all the
Those are all theories.
dimensions. Theoretically, okay, according to this is actual physics right here. This is not metaphysical. This is like there's math to support all this. Not that I know it, but it's out there supposedly, allegedly. And, so
It's theory.
so where was that?
You talking about the interdimensional,
Yeah,
like
Being in our meat bags that we are.
So now being, I think it's 8th dimensional. When you get to 8th dimension, you can not only travel forward and backwards in time, at whatever speed you would like, but you can also jump across to different branches of time, to a different option and a different universe that exists that branched off of a decision that you made in the past.
right.
Almost like branches on a tree.
It's like all
basically,
the
kind of.
yeah, and
it's
all
So
the
think
decisions
about
are
like
true, right? All
that
that.
creates all these waves and ripples, right? So a wave is basically a series of choices or decisions that you've made, right? And from that series of decisions you've made, it comes another bigger, so it's exponentially bigger series of decisions that you've made, and it just keeps going, right? And so it once, I think it's 8 dimensional. Don't quote me on that, but it's one of those higher ones.
It is. Yeah.
Once you get to that, you can not only go backwards and forwards in our timeline, you can also jump across to that other timeline and then back. So you can go experience other dimensions, other realities that
Realities,
is
yeah.
based on your
Is that what we're picking?
previous
But
decisions.
is that something
So
we're picking up in
is
the
that
paranormal?
so? Are we seeing? So basically, are
Right.
is it kind of like, you know? And I don't put a lot of stock in. I'm not gonna say I don't believe it. I'm gonna say I don't put a lot of stock in the what's that? This the effect.
Oh, you're talking about the Mandela?
Mandela effect. Thank you.
Oh, you're right. Mandela effect, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so I don't put a lot of stock into that because a lot of that's silly, but
They've been writing about the
there is something to
things
do with that,
forever.
right? Like does our conscious, like our physical bodies obviously don't slip in and out of other dimensions, right? But what about our consciousness, right?
Like when we're sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when you're awake,
You can be sleeping and then have this whole other reality that you believe is true at the time, right? Yeah, for all intents and purposes, you're
not even when
experiencing the
you're
dream.
asleep?
Yeah.
What if it's like when you're awake?
Now you're talking about the Matrix.
yeah,
No,
you could flip
No,
the
it's not the Matrix. No, it's not the Matrix. It's not the Matrix. So if you were without your own, like unwittingly slipping in and out of different dimensions or realities that could have existed based on your past choices or whatever, right? Let's say you could do that.
hmm
Then that's not like an alteration, like tricking you and what you. It's not a fake reality. It's actual realities. But it could happen in the blink of an eye, and it would. No time could have gone by
like
when you
deja
come back
vu?
because you're not only traveling to a different timeline, you're jumping completely out of your timeline. You're not traveling forward or backwards, so when you come back, you're right back where you were.
It's all happening simultaneously.
Right.
So you're just
Oh.
moving between the timelines, and I think that's very
Right.
valid to say. It
Yeah.
could happen.
Yeah.
And
Right.
there was a gentleman that wrote about it in 1889, and I do have
So-
a
so-
copy of
so
it. He talks
Kind
about
of where I
all
was
that.
going with that is like your friend that was seeing the planes could have like that could have been she could have been experiencing a reality where that
Right.
could have happened sooner, or she may have been just seeing that happening since everything exists out of time when you get into that upper dimension level, right? So you could basically, if you slip anywhere, like it doesn't have to be simultaneously in like running alongside your timeline. It could be anywhere in that timeline. You can slip in the past, in the future, in a different reality, in its future or past.
And it may explain
And
some
then
of
back-
the phenomena that we're experiencing.
Exactly.
Immediately, and no time would have passed. Yeah, so it's insane, and there's so many
Is
different,
that?
No, I totally agree with you. I love thinking like this.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
and
And we
it's-
get into it. It's
think
like
as
that
well.
quantum entanglement thing where like the electron can be in two places at the same time.
right.
And they don't understand why, but it happens
Yeah.
Like why not our consciousness be in two
Well,
places?
people have been writing about this stuff for a very long time. You know, before people took into science.
Linda's right, but too, by the way. But
What?
Mandela effect.
Yeah,
I
Mandela.
think she's right.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
say it's similar. So
Yeah.
it could be experienced similar, or maybe that's why some people probably do have like an actual Mandela effect, right? Instead of just this mass confusion. Because I mean, I don't see how everybody would have slipped into that same reality. You know, it just seems kind of like, why are we dipping into this? That sounds like it came from like there's two realities, and in one, it's the Berenstein.
Yes.
And the other one is the Berenstein.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me there's only two realities, and in one is Berenstein, and that's the difference in those two
There
realities?
should be actually a lot more things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay, so the differences are so stupidly subtle.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is
No,
like-
I agree. I agree with the Mandela.
I think
But-
there may be
yeah.
something to it, but I don't think that's what that is.
well, what what is that? Angela Mason. I don't have my glasses on. So this is horrible.
Which one was it? This?
Yeah, she says, has anyone else woken up?
Looking
to
slam down on the bed. That's more like astral projection there.
That was me.
Lucid dreaming.
No, I
I'm
have felt
kidding.
like I've been you say you slammed on the bed.
I've been
I
snapped
feel
back
like-
into body
I felt like
physical
I have
states.
been slammed on the bed or fallen, like and hit the ground.
Oh yeah. And then you wake up, you're like,
Oh,
what happened? Yeah, like jumping, springing out of
I do
bed.
that all the time.
Yeah.
It'd be like the fastest I moved that whole day.
Yeah, and so it makes you like when that feeling of being slammed down on the bed or having a bad dream, it affects your day. Have you guys noticed that? Like you feel weird all day long.
Yeah, because you know what?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, okay, because you were asleep when it happened, right? But you were probably experiencing it in your dreams. And whether or not we're aware of what we were dreaming about, that dream still played out in our brains and it still happened to our brain, right? So our brain actually experienced all that crap that we just went through. So you just got, who knows, hit by a truck, knocked off a bridge, hit the water, and you just wake up and you're like, oh shit.
Well,
you don't remember any of that.
Well, Linda,
But you're like, damn, I feel like I've been hit by a truck, knocked off a bridge, and hit the water all day.
Linda,
That's why.
well, Linda Jude has that's your soul falling back into your body.
Or
you
that.
get used
You
to
could do that.
So, like, is she
Yeah.
like
I've had
out
that
of body
experience.
experience?
Sure, Linda,
Yeah.
it could be that also, but I think my thing sounded cooler.
I'm tracking with Linda on this one. Love you, guys. Other people besides me and Bed asked me what was that.
Oh, okay. But yeah, if you have other people, I don't know. Dude. Oh, well. I
How
don't
many
know. I'm
people?
pretty violent in bed. Like when I'm sleeping,
I
I'm
can-
so
Oh
violent.
God,
You're
he doesn't
like
stop
Chris
moving.
Pitt. So
Yeah, I'm a
he's
kicker.
got a restless
Yeah,
syndrome,
I'm
but it's
really
worse
fun to
than,
sleep in this
Doesn't
energy,
get
right?
any
I'm like,
she's-
Yeah, he doesn't get any sleep.
His
His sister felt so bad for us that she bought us one of those purple mattresses,
Oh,
Which
and-
made it worse.
and because he has some his back's messed up. They can't do surgery on it; it's too close to his spine. War related, but I get mad and I'm like,
That's what I'm saying, Anita. I think that my body, like, I'm so reactiony when I'm asleep that I just react so violently to whenever I've been startled or something in my dream that it probably feel like I actually was
and I just go to the couch.
somebody body slammed me on the bed or something, or I'm wrestling somebody over there. So I couldn't see that. But I mean, who knows? Like I said though, like
I try to swallow. I like swaddle him, try to get him to
Perception-
sit still.
perception
when
is
he's
reality.
you wrap them up.
Reality, so,
Yeah.
like,
doesn't work.
it actually happened. Whatever happened to you in your dream, it's like your brain's still going through it. So that's my best.
We could do an entire
yeah,
show
yeah.
on this.
I
I
think
would love
that's
to.
we got a whole nother podcast in this
Yeah.
out of body experience and waking up, doing kung fu.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't know a whole lot about all that stuff, so y'all gonna get some crazy.
I study dreams, so I've been studying dreams for 20 years, and
I've been studying dreams my whole life. It's just I've been dreaming, man.
since you've been dreaming.
Yeah.
Why?
because first time I ever studied a dream is when I had a dream and I remembered it and I was like, man, what?
That's it.
Oh God.
Oh God.
That's so wicked funny. We
It's
could
just
do
my hair.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah.
I don't
Put it on
want
video.
too long,
Spout.
Oh,
we got a couple more there.
yeah.
Changing the pH on my face.
Common effect. Chiropractors do the same thing at the end of the day. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth a shot. You know, so you'd have to be floating pretty high to get a good thump when you land.
So, oh wow.
Love Anita.
We could get into things like old hag syndrome, which will get
Yes.
you right back in that body, and you'll wake up like,
Yep.
I've had that.
I do suffer from sleep paralysis.
I generally,
Yeah,
I tend to
it's-
think when the symptoms are always when it's explained the same way to me, then that's when I think automatically sleep paralysis. Like if they're like, oh, I feel like I'm trapped in my body, I can't move, my eyes are awake, and there's somebody in the room watching me. And I'm not saying that sleep paralysis isn't paranormal. It could be paranormal. It could very well be. You know, it's
It
like
depends on the instance. Your body does it naturally
Yes.
by releasing chemicals, so you're not moving around as much. But then sometimes you kind of wake up and you
or is it something actually? Is it a condition that you have and in your life during your life? Something's picked up on that and latched onto you.
Well, I actually
You know what I
did
mean?
a
And
sleep study.
That's your sleep paralysis
And-
demon right there. The one that's
Yeah.
picked up on the fact that
I saw the old hag before I knew there was an old hag syndrome.
He saw an old hag.
And then I
That's
got
what I'm saying. I'm
trained
not
on
saying. I'm not.
this
Yeah, I
thousands
did.
or
I did see old
hundreds
hag.
of years data
Right.
on it.
It felt that way.
I have never seen anything when I get into that paralysis state.
It just means you ain't had a demon latch on to you.
Well, after I had my son, the doctor put me on like a low dose of Lexapro, made it worse, made sleep paralysis worse. And so, it was just, I was taking it for a short period of time because I was 34 years old, felt a little postpartum depression after I had my son. And I just wanted to stay with my son. I didn't want to leave the house or anything like that. I'm like, it's my baby, don't touch my baby, But anyways, it made it worse. So certain medications can make your sleep paralysis worse. But
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm in a cocoon
I do it.
more than anything, but I don't like the fact that I can't move.
I can't do it, or I do it.
Well, the doctor says it's like a small, it was like a tremor almost.
I've tried to sleep paralysis before, and I can't sleep paralysis.
It's not fun. It's not fun at
No,
all.
it's not.
Like,
You
the
said
lucid
it
dreaming,
was
I can't
very
do it.
uncomfortable. Yeah. It was both exciting.
I've only had it a few times that I know of during my life, and one of them was I don't know, about 16 years ago, not even 12 years ago, and I literally, but I don't think I was paralyzed, but I had my hands. I never sleep behind my back, and like my hands like this behind my back, and when I woke up, there was something holding my hands behind my back, and I can feel the big. But I was moving my legs and screaming.
Yeah.
So that's not sleep paralysis.
No.
No,
Yeah.
that is something entirely different.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it
You're
is.
reacting.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
reacting to something that's there. It's real
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, that was very
You're
scary to
saying
me.
seeing it go. It's perception is reality.
I couldn't see it. I just felt these big hands,
No,
and
that's
it was
people.
negative, whatever it was. It was just like really freaking. And I
When I
don't
was little, it's different. I've had this all my life, and I get to a sleep paralysis state. It's getting a lot better. Maybe once every 2 or 3 months, I'll have an episode. And I got mad at my daughter one day because I'm sitting there, I'm blinking my eyes, and he knows, he will wake me up. He knows when I'm under that I can't move state. My eyes are wide open. I'm like struggling here. And he's like, get up. Because he knows that I get very anxious. My mom used to tell me when I was younger, I would see things in that paralysis stage. You know what she would tell me? Oh, it's just your brain growing.
You have the most
I
interesting,
love our parents.
impressions of
That's clever.
That's what she tell me. Your brain's growing.
As a parent, I think I could have used that for a lot of things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
it's a monster under the
Yeah,
bed.
thanks,
That's your
Mom.
brain growing.
Yeah, it's just your brain growing.
Yeah, that's what she was.
Yeah.
I don't like broccoli. It's just your brain growing.
Yeah, it's just a brain growing.
Green
like
corn and
that.
asparagus.
That's kind of like
I
that.
could've used
I
that.
said so thing though. That would turn into just because I said so. Like, why is it? Because I said
Oh,
so.
yeah. I took over too, yeah.
So it ends up.
Yeah.
Not a real answer.
Oh, we
Yeah.
love you guys, and we appreciate you so
That's
much coming
been
on. And
A wicked lot of
I
fun.
messaged
and I
you,
can say
Katy,
wicked. We can
but don't just say it out loud, okay?
What-
Yeah.
what-
now you're
No,
screwed.
No, I said I messaged you earlier, Katy. Yeah, you
Don't say it out loud.
just
Oh.
don't say it out loud. But yeah.
Okay.
But I just
Okay.
wanted to let you know that we really appreciate you being on. Especially on Instagram, where can they find you?
So
How can they find you?
supernatural_ink.
Right on.
Yep.
You
And
guys
also,
Right on.
my
Yeah.
I have my Instagram page is expanding the visual spectrum, and it's expanding _ expanding the visual spectrum.
Visual spectrum. Okay.
Just going to show you a random picture of a cat dressed up.
As
He
what is that? Hold on, let me see.
It's just so odd.
I like it.
We were talking about cats earlier. So this is something my daughter painted for me here. It's my cat.
Oh,
He thinks he's a real boy.
He does.
Oh, we
Yeah.
did that about our
Kurt's
cat
hidden-
Tiger.
Pinocchio cat.
I actually had a psychic vision touching him one day. Or he put his
Yes.
paw on me, and I saw him like
Yes.
in my mind, just like all dressed up like by a little dresser,
Oh.
waiting. And I told her about it, and she painted that.
That's cool.
I just got to throw that for random
Good.
reasons.
It was good. Good job.
That is, yeah, that's
Yeah.
really, that's good. I'm gonna
But we
grab
were
it.
talking about the cat and the ashes, and I grabbed that for some reason. I don't know
I was
what I
like,
was
don't, please don't bring memories back to them. They just so
Oh
sorry.
no, yeah, I can't think of my animals.
Yeah.
thinking. No, man, I know we love ours.
We love our
understand. They're our
cats. Yeah.
family. But
So,
we have enjoyed the hell out of this.
yes,
It
we
was
have.
wicked
Yeah,
good.
it's
We're
fun.
from New England. We can say wicked.
Again.
We mean it in a good way. This is a wicked good podcast.
Yeah, we
So
love
this
you
is so
guys.
fun.
You
Yeah,
just-
wicked good
We got-
time here, you guys.
We was getting all jackknifed.
Yeah, we podcast.
Awesome.
You know, we
Yeah,
know what's going on.
guys. Wicked
Yes,
good
guys.
time.
Well, anytime.
Yes, they
Yeah,
want
we'd love to have
it.
you back and continue this conversation because I feel like we could
Go on
keep
forever.
going.
But okay.
But I know we got some things to do, and I'm sure you guys do too.
Yeah, that's why I
we
messaged
wicked
her.
appreciate this and love it. Stand by.
Yeah.
Just gonna take you guys off. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Just thank you from Bigfoot and the Bunny. Thank you. Happy Saturday. Thank you for paying attention to this show because it was
Yes.
freaking awesome. This was so fun. We are off next week. We're going to try to plan a possible random show this week. Watch our page, facebook.com/Bigfoot and the Bunny for information on that on a different day. And we'll be back next Saturday as well. So have a great week, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.